Chapter 745. All the calamities disappeared, leaving behind some holy light spiritual chi that fell from the sky. The undying tortoise came under the spiritual light and was cleansed by it with Su Fong. Haha, this is great. Heavenly lightning and earthly fire are my delicacies. When you reach the ascension realm, I'll need even stronger heavenly lightning to cleanse my marrow. Su Fong had no other choice. Fortunately, Li Haojie found some cultivation methods. Although they weren't completely suitable for the undying tortoise, they combined with the divine image jade annulus. The undying tortoise could cultivate, and the effects were at least 1,000 times better than its own. After devouring a large amount of resources, it reached the normal state of tribulation level 10 in about 2 years. He placed an Earth-type Big Goblin's corpse into his golden origin core to refine. Then, he absorbed the undying tortoise into the Tao artifact space and returned to the formation. After resting for half a year, the 3 people and 2 demons left the distant immortal melody world. They came to the Star River and used teleportation to leave the immortal melody world. They passed by the Tianfeng world and the spiritual dust world. After almost 5 years, they finally passed by the immortal primordial world. Not long after, they passed by the primordial god world and finally arrived at the dust starfield. At the same time, a large number of wills came from the depths of the starfield. Naturally, it was Li Zuching and Green Feather King. He had been gone for more than 20 years. Many of the Xinyuan Empire's army had entered the dust starfield and even set up a base camp. However, they still hadn't found the location of the human emperor world. Nothing had happened in the human emperor world since he left. Everyone was cultivating. Many big goblin and experts were undergoing their tribulations. Su Fong was eager to know the current situation of the human emperor world. He flew to the dust starfield with several experts. As Green Feather King and Li Zuching said, there were about 300,000 soldiers. They had set up formations on the meteorites in the depths of the dust starfield. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers had set up hundreds of bases scattered in the dust starfield. Tens of thousands of soldiers were searching for the human emperor world. And there were also tens of thousands of Doichi's disciples assisting the Xinyuan Empire. Su Zhenhua activated his Tao artifact and controlled a cluster of nebula to hide them as they slowly floated above the Dust Star River. Su Fong asked, Su Zhenhua, how many troops does the Xinyuan Empire have? 1 million-strong army. Su Zhen said truthfully, this is the army directly controlled by the Xinyuan Empire's royal family. In a small world, how many cultivators can be used by the Xinyuan Empire? At this time, there are only a few 100,000 soldiers. If the Xinyuan Empire appears in the human sovereign world, they will definitely send more experts. After all, Master, you killed the 3rd prince and the left and right elders, especially the 3rd prince. The 3rd prince was groomed by the Xinyuan Empire as a world overlord. If I kill him, there will be endless trouble. Master, not only was the 3rd prince heavily nurtured by the Xinyuan Empire, but he was also secretly protected by a flying immortal from the Xinyuan Empire in the Great World. Now that he has been killed by Master, the Xinyuan Empire will not let you off no matter what. Is that so? That's a bit of threat. Hearing this, he couldn't help being startled. Killing the 3rd prince wasn't easy, but it was too satisfying. It was a great help to Su Fong's cultivation. But such a character had died in his hands. Would the Xinyuan Empire let it go so easily? They gradually left Shenyuan. The Empire's experts arrived at the back of the Dust Star field, then flew out of the Star River and entered the Nebula region. A group of experts immediately flew over. They were Green Feather King, Li Zuching, Zhu Huang, 9-segment Earth Dragon, and some other experts. After not seeing each other for decades, everyone was very excited. After returning to the human sovereign world, Su Fong's ability to sense the entire human sovereign world was strengthened. Because he had broken through to the 10th level of catastrophe, his strength had increased. Naturally, he had merged with the human sovereign world. The first thing Su Fong did after returning was not to gather everyone and hold a gathering. Instead, he joined forces with Green Feather King, Li Zuching, Su Zhenhua, and the others to strengthen the barrier of the human sovereign world. Back then, when he wasn't as strong as he was now, he had created the world barrier in a hurry. Now that everyone's strength had increased and they were in a good state, it was time to strengthen the barrier of the human sovereign world. After 5 years, the final barrier was several times stronger than before. Although it couldn't compare to other small worlds, it could still protect the world's energy and not be swallowed by the Star River's pressure. Then, he went to the depths of the human sovereign world. He continued to set up a grand formation in the cave that he had merged with, displaying the power of the earth element. Several experts joined forces, with Su Fong as the center. The world's realm lord was very different. Su Fong absorbed everyone's strength, urging the might of the human sovereign world. Seeing the land within 100 miles fusing, his will exploded. Mountains moved out of thin air, forming a city wall around him. In half a day, a perfect city appeared in the desolate land of the human sovereign world. Sensing the entire world, after decades under the protection of the world barrier, some plants grew in the ruins. It seemed that it would take countless more years for the heavenly Tao to grow into a lush green world. Coming to the center of the city, he released more than 20,000 small commanders. Then he gathered the other experts and Big Goblin. First, Grand Elder Hong Lian, Grand Elder Tsang Hao, Grand Elder He Zun, and the other experts appeared. In the center of the square, a golden palace sat. The experts followed Su Fong to the front and sat down. Li Ziqing looked at the countless experts and introduced. None of the 20,000 slaves have left. Some of them haven't recovered their strength yet. Plus, there's a dust star river in front of us. These people will stay here for the time being. The other tens of thousands of Xinyuan Empire experts have completely submitted. Su Fong's attention was not on the experts, but on the people around him. He was shocked by Li Ziqing's current aura. Senior's strength has increased greatly. A while ago, I passed 2 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. After being shackled for so many years, I've finally reached 3 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Li Ziqing sighed and looked at the experts around him. During this period, Grand Elder He Zun's breakthroughs have been very shocking. After becoming a supreme, true demon, he went from 1 calamity stage heavenly tribulations to 2 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Now he has reached 3 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. He immediately looked at Grand Elder He Zun. It was indeed so. Grand Elder He Zun's body was covered in demonic patterns, and demonic aura burned in his eyes. When he saw Su Fong looking at him, Grand Elder He Zun immediately bowed in return. This Grand Elder of the Supreme God Sect was originally a calamity stage heavenly tribulations expert. However, after being stuck for so many years, he obtained the most suitable power for him and became a true demon. With Su Fongda's resources, how could he not rapidly increase his strength? The others had also greatly increased their strength. Grand Elder Hong Lian went from 1 calamity stage heavenly tribulations to 2 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Elder Qing Tong, Elder Zhang Feng, Elder Tsang Hao, Jin Chongkong, Elder Juodao, and Xuanjin Nun all went from the feather transformation stage to the flying celestial stage, and had the strength of 1 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Qin Yuanho had already broken through to 2 calamity stage heavenly tribulations, and Guang Zhao Holy King had also reached the peak of 1 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Soon, he would break through to 2 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Other than these experts, there are also some top experts among the other experts. They either reached the peak of the feather transformation stage, or they went from the feather transformation stage to 1 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Zhu Huang and the 9-section Earth Dragon's strength had more than doubled, and their combat power was estimated to have reached 2 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. If they used their Tao artifacts, they could definitely deal with peerless experts who had reached 3 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. Currently, the strongest people around Su Fong were Green Feather King, Li Ziqing, and Grand Elder He Zun. all of whom had reached 3 calamity stage heavenly tribulations. As for the experts who had not reached 3 calamity stage heavenly tribulations, there were quite a few of them. For example, the 9-headed demon king, Wooling Goblin, Zhu Huang, 9-section Earth Dragon, and Su Jianhua. Now, tens of thousands of experts gathered together with the big goblin. Su Fong distributed many high-quality royal-grade magic artifacts, and most of them exchanged for a new magic artifact. After gathering for a while, the big goblin and the experts below dispersed. Su Fong led dozens of people into the main hall. Everyone gathered together, but the brute force demon king, the 9-headed demon king, and the Wooling Goblin, the 3 new experts, were still not used to it. Su Fong, Li Ziqing, and Green Feather King were talking. Senior, I'm almost out of aphrodisiac pills. I need to quickly cultivate alchemy experts and start alchemy in the Human Emperor world. The more aphrodisiac pills we have, the better the Human Emperor world will be able to deal with all kinds of problems in the future. Li Ziqing solemnly said, "All right, I'll go arrange it. First, I'll send an order to everyone to hand over their pill cauldrons and spirit items that can be used for alchemy. Right now, you don't have many pill cauldrons, and I'm afraid you don't have many spirit items either. To establish an empire's foundation, you'll need an astonishing amount of resources. I collected some pill cauldrons recently, but I'm still lacking a lot. With so many capable people, there should be some alchemy cultivators as well. I'll have to trouble you, Senior." Su Fong took out a xianguang. There were a dozen pill cauldrons inside, all of which had been collected in the past 100 years. There were very few pill cauldrons, and most of them were offensive and defensive magic artifacts. Green Feather King then asked, "Kid, what do you plan on doing next? The Xinyuan Empire is frantically searching for the Human Emperor world. With the nebula hiding, it'll be difficult for them to find it. Right now, my plan is to further integrate with the Human Emperor world. Then I'll go to the Spirit Mist world and the Zhou Heaven world. I'll go to the Fertile Continent. I reckon there's no more yang energy there, and I won't be able to refine more yang strengthening pills." In the face of Green Feather King's concern, Su Fong pondered for a moment before saying, "If I go to the Zhou Heaven world, I'll refine the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree and try to break through to the Wing Transformation Realm. Once I break through, I'll return to the Human Emperor world and further integrate with the Human Emperor world. Then I'll plan on whether to deal with the Primordial God world or the Ewa Heaven world first. I'll take over a few minor worlds, especially the Primordial God world. On one hand, we'll strengthen the foundation of the Human Emperor world. On the other hand, it's good to increase our strength. All of this is to protect and integrate with the Human Emperor world. Indeed, we need to get rid of the Xinyuan Empire. Otherwise, with our strength, if the Xinyuan Empire comes looking for us, we won't be able to hold on for long if they send more troops. Sect leader seems to have heard that there will be immortals descending from the Doichi world. If this news is true, then you don't have much time left. You have to break through to the Wing Transformation Realm as soon as possible. The 10th layer of Catastrophe Realm isn't enough. Even the first layer of Wing Transformation Realm isn't enough. You have to reach the high layer of Wing Transformation Realm. With this cultivation and your ability, you'll definitely be able to seize the Xinyuan Empire." Now that all the experts were gathered here, on the surface, it gave people the feeling that Su Fong had a strong foundation and a powerful force. However, in front of the Xinyuan Empire, they were still weak. They only had a certain level of threat, but they couldn't threaten the Xinyuan Empire at all. On the contrary, the Xinyuan Empire could threaten the Human Emperor world at all times. Green Feather King was secretly gratified because Su Fong was already a powerhouse overseeing a region. He controlled the present and the future. Sooner or later, he would become a supreme world lord. Green Feather King patted Su Fong's shoulder. "I believe that we're just a small stream now, not a vast ocean. However, with our efforts, we'll eventually become a vast ocean full of life. There's no time to lose. Looks like I have to integrate with the Human Emperor world as soon as possible. I'll immediately rush to the Zhuitian world and Lingming world to increase my strength. I plan to move the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree to the human emperor world as the source of life and the source of the world. After the gathering, everyone dispersed. Su Fang also immediately entered the Earth's core. Chapter 746. Deep in the Earth's core, in a world's origin. Su Fang sat down cross-legged and activated the human sovereign's inheritance. Soon, the origin of the Earth's core was scattered all over the human sovereign world, releasing a shocking aura of origin. Looking at the entire human sovereign world from the Earth's core, the interior was in the shape of a boiling origin world, and Su Fang was at the center of all the energy. Su Fang stripped a lot of blood essence from his body. Drops of blood essence dripped into the origin vitality stones, origin essences, and all kinds of spiritual objects in the energy space. It was said that the body of a supreme almighty could turn into a world. Although it was only a legend, when a human became a realm lord and merged with a planet, they used their own blood to gradually merge with the world's matter. During this time, Su Fang was also ferociously devouring immortal fruits, immortal blood essence, and the big goblin's corpse. However, because he had to merge with the human sovereign world, the increase in strength was not shocking. Most of the increased strength was used on the merging with the human sovereign world. Fortunately, the merging step by step deepened his perception and control of the human sovereign world. Almost 10 years had passed. No, this merging speed is still too slow. Instead of this, it's better to cultivate to the ascension realm and merge with the human sovereign world with the strongest strength in the future. The weaker my strength, the slower the merging speed, which is a waste of energy. When my cultivation reaches the peak, the merging speed will be 10,000 times faster. Su Fang decisively opened his eyes, stopped cultivating, and immediately left the Earth's core space. After almost 10 years of cultivation, his strength did not increase much. Although there were gains from merging with the human sovereign world, if this continued, there would not be much change even after 1,000 years. Arriving at the city, Su Fang met up with Li Ziqing. They came to a barrier. Inside were palaces built by Li Ziqing. Thousands of cultivators, mainly in the catastrophe realm, were preparing to refine pills. There were more than 1,000 alchemy cauldrons, all of them high grade. Only a few of them were king grade. Some of the thousands of cultivators had already begun to try refining pills. Most of them were practicing. It would probably take another 10 years before they could start refining pills in large quantities. After coming out, he immediately gathered all the junior commanders. More than 20,000 junior commanders flew over, and Su Fang absorbed them into the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. Zhu Huang, Nine Dragon, Nine-Headed Demon King, Brute Demon King, Wooling Goblin, and Piercing Sky Demon Lord also came to the pagoda and began cultivating. As soon as the 20,000-plus junior commanders returned to the Xianhuang Six Daos Pagoda, Su Fang's aura underwent a huge change. It was too strong, but Su Fang quickly adapted to it and suppressed it within his body. Realm Lord Lord, Lord Realm Demon King, Lord, Demon, Demon Lord, the Demon, 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 Demon Translation, Demon, Demon, Lord Realm, Realm, Translation, Translation, Demon Translation, 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 Demon, Demon Translation, Demon, Demon Translation. Su Fang had always been respectful towards these two experts. I still have to be careful of Seven-Star Child. Immortals are too powerful. Although I'm strong, I'm still too weak. There are some abilities that I can't use to their fullest potential. I'll have to trouble the two seniors in the human emperor world. Don't worry. If there is any movement in the Xinyuan Empire, this king will be the first to inform you. If something big happens, we will think of a way to move the Renhuang realm to a more complicated galaxy. Why don't you bring more experts with you? I only brought exalted cultivator Yuezhin. Let them stay here. It's better for me to act alone. Junior will take his leave. After Su Fang saluted, it transformed into a streak of light. The starlight disappeared. Li Ziqing was startled. Peng King, how powerful do you think this brat will be the next time he comes back? In my opinion, once he reaches the feather transformation realm, he will be a completely different person. The more I can't see through this brat, the more I can't see through him. Fortunately, he's a great perfection realm cultivator, and he doesn't have a golden core to become a void dust realm cultivator. With all these factors added together, no one can predict his future. Let's wait and see. We also have to deal with the Xinyuan Empire. The two experts turned and returned to the city. Soon, Guangzhou Holy King and Qin Yuanho brought some experts to the human emperor world. They used the sensing array left behind by Su Fong to sense the movements of the entire small world. Asterisk, 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 small worlds floated in the vast galaxy. All kinds of galaxy matter would go berserk with the galaxy's power from time to time, making it impossible for living beings to survive in the starry sky. Some of the shuttle star marks formed by the shuttle door were left in the galaxy. There were also some heavenly ships that carefully avoided the various galaxies' power, especially the galaxy storms. They were also afraid of getting lost in the nebula. After more than 100 years, I, Su Fong, am back. A figure was teleporting in the galaxy, constantly riding the cold starlight and approaching the Lingmeng realm. Wu Tan realm. Su Fong looked at one side of the galaxy and saw a familiar small world. Seven Star Child is there, and so is the Green Lotus Sword sect. If possible, I want to obtain this small world as well. Looking at the Lingmeng realm, he missed his father and his clansmen. He activated a rune talisman, and half a day later, he arrived at the periphery of the Lingmeng realm. When he first arrived, with his current sensing ability, he found many experts with origin auras scattered around the world's barrier. Not long after, Yu Yingying flew out of the barrier under the escort of several experts. When she saw Su Fong, she was full of resentment and scolded him without holding back. Are you only coming back now to see a joke or to watch a show? Su Fong was shocked. After a while, he asked, What happened, young miss? I don't know anything. I just came back from a faraway galaxy. You really don't care. Yu Yingying was still very angry. Do you know that Seven Star Child, the immortal you offended decades ago, came to my Lingmeng realm again? Su Fong was furious. So something really happened. No wonder so many experts are hiding Seven Star Child in the depths of the barrier. This person is really haunting. Do you think that an immortal like him will let you go for nothing? Yu Yingying's eyebrows were cold. I thought that he would not cause trouble, but when you escaped from the Xinjia Gate for the second time, there were already undercurrents in this galaxy. Maybe you don't know, but the news of you coming out of the Xinjia Gate alive quickly spread from the Zhuotian realm to more than a dozen small worlds nearby and even more distant forces. Many forces want to capture you and obtain the Xinjia Gate through you. Seven Star Child came to cause trouble in the Lingmeng realm to capture me. Hearing this, Su Fong was not surprised. Although Master Heiyun would seal the entire extraterritorial islands, there would still be people who would escape, especially when they joined forces to break the barrier and fight with Master Heiyun and the other experts. Those experts would definitely seize the opportunity to escape the extraterritorial islands. Then, everything that happened in the Xinjia Gate would spread. Everyone knew that there was a person who entered and exited the Xinjia Gate twice. Because the Xinjia Gate had long become a peerless Tao artifact in this galaxy, everyone knew about it and wanted to obtain it. Back then, it had caused a storm of blood. Yu Yingying's resentment had an additional trace of hatred. She seemed to have a lot of resentment towards Su Fong. Seven Star Child naturally came for you. He thinks that the best place for you to hide is the Lingmeng realm. He even said that he would hand you over, or else he would attack the Lingmeng realm the next time he comes. Just one Seven Star Child? Didn't he experience the power of the Sixth Lord last time? He's an immortal. Does he really want to fight to the death with me? A mortal, to make him pay such a price? Su Fong did not understand, but he felt that Seven Star Child was not such a rash person. If he was not confident, why would he rush into the Lingmeng realm? You're wrong. He's not alone. He also brought Green Lotus Sword sect, where he brought Wu Tan Realm's Realm Lord. This person's relationship with Wu Tan Realm's Realm Lord is like family. You really thought of this. Wu Tan Realm's Realm Lord is indeed here, but you didn't think of anything else. He gathered the experts of other small realms, but not only did he not become an immortal, he even established a faction in the lower realms. You're right. He did establish a faction, but it's not a mortal faction, but an immortal strength. Because this time, he brought 2 more immortals. A total of 3 immortals came to our Lingmeng realm openly. 3 immortals! His jaw was numb from shock, and he could not close it. With a shudder, Su Fong felt a chill run down his spine. How could there be 3 immortals? At first, I didn't think that 7-star child would come so aggressively. Only after those 2 immortals appeared did I understand. According to master senses, one of those 2 immortals should be Huang Yuran, an expert from Green Lotus Sword sect who ascended tens of thousands of years ago. He was once the sect master of Green Lotus Sword sect. Yu Yingying spoke tirelessly while staring at Su Fong. The other immortal is the strongest. He's not from the lower realms, but from a large world. He's the strongest, and looks like he's only 15 or 16 years old. Don't underestimate him because he's young, but he's a true expert. At this moment, Su Fong finally realized why Yu Yingying had always treated him as an enemy. 3 immortals? What kind of power was that? Su Fong was filled with regret. Immortal Huang Yuran, young immortal, and 7-star child. I was wrong. I really let down the Lingmeng realm and caused such trouble. If the 3 of them really attacked the Lingmeng realm, the consequences would be unimaginable. The 3 immortals and Wu Tan's realm lord are threatening my Lingmeng realm. They said that if the Lingmeng realm is tactful and hands you over to them, they won't make things difficult for us. But they'll definitely leave in the future. I don't need to say anything, but you should know what they'll do. Yu Yingying was furious. You, every time I see you, you bring me endless trouble. It's fine if it's my own trouble, but now it's this small world. Actually, I feel the same as Mississippi. After all, my family is here. Su Fong's voice was gloomy. It could be seen that there was a huge stone pressing down on his heart, making it hard for him to breathe. You think that's all the trouble you have? Yu Yingying coldly pointed at the distant Zhuotian realm. Recently, there are a few more immortal auras lingering in the Zhuotian realm. There should be more immortals coming down. I reckon that they're all coming for the Xinjia Gate. This immortal artifact has been in the lower realms for over 200,000 years. How many immortals will send this Tao artifact up to the large world after ascending? Plus, you've caused the Xinjia Gate, which has been immersed in the lower realms for over 200,000 years, once again stirred up the nerves of countless people, causing these immortals to come down. I'm afraid that from now on, your troubles will never end. Are there a lot of immortals coming down to the Zhuotian realm? Sai, how did things come to this point? A Tao artifact can cause such a huge commotion. I'm afraid it's not just these few immortals. After all, the cultivation forces in these small worlds will maintain contact with the immortals in the upper realms. Although it's not easy for immortals to come down, through some methods or currying favor with the immortals in the large worlds, they can still come down. Moreover, my master said that a powerful Tao artifact in the large worlds can cause immortals to kill each other. Good magic treasures can only be obtained by chance. Now that there's a peerless Tao artifact in the small worlds where mortals live, wouldn't the immortals in the large worlds be able to easily obtain it? After Yu Yingying finished speaking, she glanced at Su Fong from the corner of her eyes and saw that he had fallen into a state of silence. She shook her head again. You better not come to the spirit mist realm in the future. Once those immortals find your traces, I can guarantee that they will make a move on the spirit mist realm. As for your family, I'll say the same thing again. With me here, nothing will happen to them. Chapter 747. Hearing this, and seeing Yu Yingying's back, Su Fong's heart warmed. He took a step forward and stopped Yu Yingying with a thought. What? Yu Yingying stared at him angrily. Su Fong immediately felt a formless cold air that froze his body. I just want to thank you. Please don't worry, miss. I will reverse the situation soon. That 7-star child is too much. No matter when, I will advance and retreat with the spirit mist world. Don't just say it. When I need you, just appear in time. This is the alchemy resources I have accumulated over the years. I was so angry that I almost forgot about this matter. Fortunately, you came back in time. Right now, the Yang strengthening pill is in short supply. In my spirit mist world, The demand is about the same as the pure Yuan pill. Some time ago, your heaven-crossing sect was unable to refine one more pill. Yuanying kept the empty bag. When she was about to leave again, she deliberately looked at Su Fong. You better not go to the Zhuotian world. I heard that there are already immortals moving around inside. I reckon that with the Xinjia Gate as a whirlpool, it will lead to a bloody storm. He took a deep breath and watched Yu Ying disappear into the barrier of the spirit mist world. After a long time, he turned and flew towards the Zhuotian world. In the divine aperture, Yuer said, Master, she is right. There are so many immortals coming down to seize the Xinjia Gate. It is too dangerous for you to go in. If this kind of Tao artifact really enters the big world, it will attract immortals to come down and seize it. This is very common in the big world. The human emperor world is still in a desolate state. If we rely on the power of the world to recover, how many years will it take for it to recover? If the heavenly gourd spirit tree is planted in the depths of the world, the earth will become lush and green in a few hundred years. Obviously, Su Fong had made up his mind to enter the Zhuotian world. There's another reason. I have to snatch the third part of the purple Qi law spirit from the celestial sealing sects Shang Changshen. With my current strength, I can definitely fight with the celestial sealing sect's sect master. There might be changes in the Zhuotian world in the future, so I have to go there. It turned out that he had never forgotten the purple Qi law spirit. This trip to the Zhuotian realm was not just for the heavenly gourd spirit tree. In his plan, since it was not easy to come here, he had to do everything well. Try to sense the aura of the immortals in the dark. Although I can't fight them head-on, I have the ability to deal with them. In a split second, Su Fong raised his speed to the extreme and secretly cooperated with the Jade Annulus. After passing through the Spirit Mist realm, the Beichen Zone, and the Chilean Star, they soon saw the huge Zhuotian realm. As he gradually approached the Zhuotian realm, he suddenly discovered that the seal of the world had already solidified. The seal was sealed from the inside, and only the shuttle door could be opened to enter and exit the Zhuotian realm. If a cultivator wanted to enter the Zhuotian realm, it would depend on how strong they were. All of this confirmed what Yu Ying had said. Fortunately, Su Fong had a large amount of the Zhuotian realm's essence in his body. Using the ethereal true insight, he instantly flew through the barrier and returned to the Zhuotian realm. Being in the sky of the Zhuotian realm, the sense of familiarity was greater than the Renhuang realm that Su Fong had merged with. After all, this was the place where he grew up. As a precaution, I should change my appearance and hide my aura. I should use the monarch Qi to enter my meridians. He didn't know how many people were looking for him at this time. After half an incense stick's time, Su Fong activated the bone, changing technique, and the monarch Qi. With the support of the monarch Qi, his aura and appearance were completely different. I don't know what the situation is with the Xinjia Gate. I can't enter it again just because I'm curious. When I left last time, I also completely gave up on the Xinjia Gate. This treasure has its own spirituality. Since it doesn't recognize me, why should I force it? He still flew towards the heavenly gourd realm. As for the outer realm islands, he also wanted to see what kind of scene it was. Su Fong didn't activate the instant space ring, nor did he activate much of the Zhuotian realm's power. He was like an ordinary cultivator approaching the heavenly gourd realm. The closer he got to the water, the closer the spiritual Qi from the heavenly gourd spirit tree, under the great perfection's sensing ability, not only surged out from the heavenly gourd realm, but also faintly seeped out from the depths of the sky. The heavenly gourd spirit tree was indeed tightly fused with the Zhuotian realm. When he arrived above the heavenly gourd realm, Su Fong didn't sense Prince Shue's aura. With his current sensing ability, he could see the entire continent. How many cultivators were there, where they were hiding, and what kind of special spiritual Qi there was. Nothing could escape his sensing ability. He thought that Prince Xue had returned here to fuse with the heavenly gourd spirit tree, but he was wrong. There wasn't a single disciple of the celestial sealing sect here. When he flashed to the top of the heavenly gourd spirit tree, he saw a large amount of ruins left behind from the previous battle. When he fought with Prince Xue, the Great Emperor Dipper, and the Heart Elephant, Many places had become ruins because of it. However, this didn't affect the spiritual chi of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Its aura was still tightly fused with the continent and heaven and earth. When he arrived at the depths of the earth, he found many cultivators searching for treasures. Su Fang's target was the depths of the earth's core. Buzz. Just as he was about to move, his sensing ability and Yuer moved at the same time. He turned around in shock. A Tao artifact's divine might suddenly brought hundreds of figures with it. It was actually teleporting. With the speed of shuttling, it just happened to roll in front of him. Who was it that dared to brazenly control a Tao artifact and bring so many experts through the air? This speed had already reached the limit of Su Fang's speed. It came too suddenly. Even if he activated Shun Space now, he might not be able to escape. Moreover, he might even be discovered by the other party. In the blink of an eye, an illusory cloud rope shot out from the Tao artifact's aura when it flew over. With two bangs, it wrapped around Su Fang and pulled him into the Tao artifact's aura. Another cultivator. Behave yourself. After passing through the aura, there were more than 500 people in front of him. They ranged from the catastrophe realm to the flying celestial realm. Each of them was brimming with killing intent. An old man activated the illusory cloud rope. After grabbing Su Fang, he pointed at the void. Without allowing Su Fang to resist, he injected a poisonous gas into Su Fang's chest. He sneered sinisterly. In the future, you will serve me and seize resources in the Zhuotian realm. I'm actually captured like this. The power of the illusory cloud rope shook Su Fang until he sat on the ground. His entire body was numb. Yuer, in the divine aperture, was always ready. This old man's strength has reached the peak of a small world. He has passed 2 doomsday disasters and stepped into the flying immortal realm. He has the strength of 3 doomsday disasters. He is indeed an existence like the Lord of 5 poisons. Currently, only Senior Punking can deal with such an expert. Su Fang sat up honestly. He secretly glanced around and saw that many experts around him were dumbfounded. He estimated that some of the hundreds of experts were forcefully suppressed. After flying for a while, the divine might of the Tao artifact suddenly separated. The old man controlled his aura and brought more than 200 people to the sky above the abyss. In front of them was the famous natural spiritual treasure of the Zhuotian realm, the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Could it be that this expert is also here to seize the heavenly gourd spirit tree? Among the crowd was Su Fang, a catastrophe cultivator. He was not eye-catching, but his eyes were the brightest. He seemed to have understood the old man's purpose in coming here. He looked at the sky again. The divine might of the Tao artifact that controlled his aura was gone. What's going on? The aura of the Tao artifact disappeared. Just now, I seem to have sensed an extremely terrifying aura of the void, immortal spirit. Yuer said, I think the one who activated the divine might of the Tao artifact was not this old man, but the power of an immortal. However, that immortal does not seem to be here. This old man used the immortal's power and displayed an unparalleled speed. Master, should we escape first? No, I want to see if this old man is here for the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Anyway, I'm also here for the spiritual treasure. This kind of treasure cannot fall into the hands of outsiders. If this old man really wants to seize the heavenly gourd spirit tree, then the guardian of this spirit tree will also come out. Master, the heavenly gourd spirit tree has not been seized for so many years. I think there really is a guardian in the dark who will come out halfway when an expert wants to seize the spirit tree. All the more reason to stay and take a look. If there really is trouble, it will be the old man who will deal with it. I will just be a small fry for now. Su Fang laughed in disdain. He wanted to figure out where this force came from first, then see what the old man's goal was. Everyone waited for a while. That old man was probably sensing something. About 2 hours later, the old man brought over 200 experts and approached the core of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. I need to make use of this time to control the poison that the old man injected into my body. Su Fang had already secretly activated his yin and yang power. He also took out 3 goo worms to absorb the poison's power in his body. Actually, He had an even faster method, which was to let the blood ghost true demon take action. However, its aura was too evil. He could not perfectly control it. He had to rely on himself to control the poison first. Soon, the old man used a great divine ability and ordered the 200 people to form seals with him. Suddenly, with the support of Zhuotian Realm's world power, everyone's speed increased. They also entered the rock layer and soon arrived at the core of the earth, moving along the heavenly gourd spirit tree. At this time, Su Feng had also controlled the poison and sealed it in his chest. Just as he released his senses, he was shocked. They came to the core of the tree and slowed down. Su Feng sensed that this should be the true origin of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Everyone sighed. The heavenly gourd spirit tree in front of them was almost translucent and sparkling. Its life energy was obvious. The old man's methods are too powerful. In the past, so many people could not find this place. I came this time to find the true origin of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. To think that the old man would save me time. He secretly smiled proudly, remaining silent like a puppet. Everyone followed the old man into the center of the tree. The roots of the heavenly gourd spirit tree were several kilometers in diameter. At the center, a primeval stone spirit vein of Zhuotian realm appeared in front of everyone. The old man laughed. So it's true, it's true. No one behind him understood. Su Feng used his perfected ability and suddenly saw through the layers of spirit light. At the center of the primeval stone spirit vein, there were actually countless tree roots wrapped around it. Furthermore, they had already merged with the primeval stone spirit vein. Not only that, there were also layers of seals that sealed the tree roots and the primeval stone spirit vein. It was as if they were frozen in the core of the earth. That seal can control the heavenly gourd spirit tree and the primeval stone spirit vein. Only a realm lord can do that. The seal's aura is so ancient. It should be as ancient as the undying tortoise. Su Feng suddenly understood in his heart and laughed. So this heavenly gourd spirit tree did not naturally grow in the Zhuotian realm, but was planted here by a certain expert of the Zhuotian realm. Countless years later, it grew into a towering tree and fused with the Zhuotian realm's origin. Wait here. Don't make any noise. Otherwise, the sovereigns will take your heads. At this moment, more than 20 figures flew out toward the old man. One of the experts at the back shouted coldly at the crowd before flying towards the old man. Su Feng was calm. I reckon that the old man is most likely here for the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Just nice. I can use my perfected ability to hear his purpose here. He and the surrounding experts retracted their auras. No one dared to make a sound. As for Su Feng, he seemed to be waiting obediently, but he had already used his perfected ability and followed the last expert to approach the old man, surrounded by more than 20 experts. Chapter 748. Su Feng was able to fully grasp the cultivation base and strength of the more than 20 powerhouses under the perception of great perfection. All of them had the strength of 2 Calamity Realm Ascension Immortals. Only a few of them had the strength of 1 Calamity Realm Ascension Immortals. Together with the old man, the combined strength of these 20-plus experts was truly astonishing. All of them were old antiques of large factions. The old man led everyone along the heavenly gourd spirit tree and the origin source spirit stone spirit vein seal. They circled around a few times and carefully examined every corner. After a while, everyone arrived at the origin source spirit vein seal and floated in the middle of countless spirit roots. They saluted the old man. Elder Go. The old man's voice was imposing. This is one of the most famous spirit items of Zhuotian domain, the heavenly gourd spirit tree. An expert replied, compared to the spirit items of my eternal heaven domain, it is indeed on par. How can it be compared to the treasures of my eternal heaven domain? Immediately, another expert disagreed. Just like that, these experts spoke one after another, but Su Feng heard the information that he wanted to know clearly. So these experts are from Eternal Heaven Domain. Su Feng naturally knew about Eternal Heaven Domain. It was about the same distance from Zhuotian Domain and Wutan Domain. It was also a famous cultivation holy land. Back then, When he was in Celestial Sealing Sect, he learned from the sect books that Celestial Sealing Sect had established a chamber of commerce in Eternal Heaven Domain and had connections with some factions there. I remember now. Among the countless factions that chased me into Xianjia Gate, I suppressed more than 100 experts. They were experts from Eternal Heaven Domain. Then it can be explained immediately. At that time, there were also experts from Eternal Heaven Domain who escaped the barrier set up by Venerable Heiyun. When they returned to Eternal Heaven Domain, they spread the news of Xianjia Gate. In the end, Eternal Heaven Domain sent experts to kill them. They did not come with good intentions. With so many experts, they are definitely the elites of the elites. Maybe there are immortals hiding in the dark, especially that old man surnamed Go. He should also have a Tao artifact. After understanding the origins of these people, he naturally understood their purpose in coming here. Su Fong frowned again. These people came to the Zhuotian realm to openly seize resources. Zhuotian realm obviously started to have undercurrents not long after I left. Maybe the Zhuotian realm is even more complicated than I imagined. At this moment, Elder Go spoke again in a dignified tone. We came to the Heavenly Gourd domain this time to seize the Heavenly Gourd spiritual tree. I reckon there are experts under the Realm Lord guarding this spiritual tree. However, Realm Lord Zhuotian can't take care of the Heavenly Gourd spiritual tree now. He should be guarding the Xianjia Gate with all his might. Therefore, we can spend some time to uproot the Heavenly Gourd spiritual tree and dig out the nearby Origin Source gems, such as Origin Source stones and Origin Source essences. We will listen to Elder Go. When the time comes, Elder Go, please guide us in front of the Realm Lord and the unmatched immortals. The experts immediately expressed their stance, rushing towards the Elder like a flock of bees. I, Go Tianxua, represent the Realm Master. The Realm Master also wants the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. He wants us to seize the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree before the other forces come. Elder Go stroked his beard. Everyone, form hand seals with me. Let's see if we can break this seal and think of a way to take the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. With Su Fangda's full power, the Elder led the experts down below to form a huge Origin Source vein. They surrounded the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. The Origin Source vein merged with the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's Origin Source vein. This Origin Source vein had already transformed into the shape of a tree root. Adding on the seal, it caused the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree to take root in the core. Tut-tut. Everyone followed Go Tianshua's lead. Their hand seals merged together, forming a large number of finger seals that grabbed at the ancient seal. The ancient seal constantly trembled, causing the core to tremble. Their combined strength was not to be underestimated. They were actually able to break some of the seal's power. However, compared to the entire seal, this bit of damage was nothing. Go Tianxua led the experts and used this kind of violent method to continuously attack the seal. The shockwaves from their attacks also struck some of the smaller spirit roots. However, the huge spirit roots were extremely tough, and they still took root in the core. A few days later, the core region gradually calmed down. Go Tianxua brought these experts to destroy the Zhuotian realm. These bandits are starting to plunder resources. They're destroying the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree and the Zhuotian realm's core. Su Fangda, who had been secretly sensing this, was furious. He wanted to attack. Go Tianxua continued. The World Lord's power truly is extraordinary. Because too much time has passed, the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree has merged with the core. If we continue like this, it might take a few hundred years before we can collect the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. During that time, the core will collapse. We have to think of a new method. Elder Go, didn't you tell us to prepare beforehand? We cultivate the wood Tao. We can use our wood energy and magical treasures to collect the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. With so many of us working together, we can first absorb the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's essence and store it in our magical treasures. Once the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree wilts, we can pull it up by the roots and take it away. Otherwise, we'll be affected by the core's collapse. We can try. Quite a few experts gave suggestions to Go Tianxua. So these people had long since made many preparations. Just for the heavenly gourd spirit tree, they had even found several experts who cultivated the wood dao. Suddenly, Su Fong heard a few people talking about something, and his eyes shone brightly. At this moment, several experts flew over and brought them into the depths. Everyone followed the experts to seal the Yuan stone spirit vein. Go Tianxua sent out a set of hand seals for formation. 5 experts came to the center and floated below the heavenly gourd spirit tree's roots. After forming a few hand seals, they actually managed to sever one of the thick spirit roots. Then they used their wood true qi to form a channel that merged with the spirit roots. After a while, 5 more spirit roots grew out of that spirit root and wrapped around the 5 of them. It seemed that the 5 experts had merged with the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Without waiting for them to activate the formation, the 5 experts activated their wood energy first. The spirit roots trembled and sent out 5 streams of life essence that slowly entered their bodies. After waiting for a while, the speed still didn't increase. Go Tianxua had more than 200 experts activate the formation together. At this time, the formation's power increased by a shocking amount. When it entered the 5 experts' bodies, the rate of absorption increased by dozens of times. But even so, with how big the heavenly gourd spirit tree was, it would probably take a very long time for them to absorb a portion of the tree's essence. The progress was clear, but Go Tianxua was in a rush. He suddenly shouted to all the experts, "Which one of you is still a wood cultivator?" Over 200 experts trembled with fear. In the end, not a single one of them made a sound. Just as Go Tianxua's expression turned cold, Su Fong walked out. "Sir, this subordinate was originally a cultivator from the Zhuotian world. I've come to the heavenly gourd spirit world several times. Don't waste words." Go Tianxua shot him a domineering glance. Su Fong trembled in fear. A few hundred years ago, this subordinate obtained a spirit gourd, as well as a spirit flower from the heavenly gourd spirit tree. After I merged with the spirit flower, I was able to form a connection with the heavenly gourd spirit tree. As for my flaming cloud spirit gourd, it was able to absorb a large amount of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence. This subordinate offered the spirit gourd to you, and it was best for you to absorb the essence. I could also use the ability of the spirit flower to make the heavenly gourd spirit tree condense even more energy. That way, it would be easier for the 5 experts to extract the essence. Hearing this, Go Tianxua's expression immediately changed. "Interesting. Then you came here to absorb more of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence?" Yes. No. This subordinate was just temporarily absorbing the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence for you. It seems Su Fong was also the leader of this group of people. Go Tianxua's smile became even more condescending, as if he had eaten honey. As he waved his hand, an invisible force lifted Su Fong into the air. Under his control, he slowly floated up. He suddenly shouted, "If you can really help me, I won't treat you unfairly. I'm an expert under the Eternal Heaven World's Realm Master. I'm a supreme expert in the Eternal Heaven World, and there's nothing I can't do." Yes. Su Fong repeatedly nodded in shock. Whoosh, Go Tianxua flicked his finger, and Su Fong arrived in front of the 5 experts, closest to the bottom of the spirit root. "Master, you're taking too much of a risk. That Go Tianxua's strength has reached 3 calamity stage, while you're at most 1. With this kind of control, it won't be difficult for him to kill you. He is powerful, and he probably has a Dao item. He's even stronger than Li Ziqing. Only the Peng King and the Lord of 5 Poisons are his opponents. But so what? In his mind, I'm just a catastrophe realm weakling who doesn't even have the strength to truss a chicken. This kind of carelessness is the key to turning defeat into victory." You understands. Later, when I activate my ability, you will fuse a portion of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence with my physical body. I'll have to split my attention and pay attention to everything around me. After communicating with you, the power of a Dao item exploded within his body. Before Su Fong attacked, he actually took out the Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd. But before that, he took out all the treasures within it. Whoosh! He took the initiative to toss it to Go Tianxua. It really is a legendary spirit gourd. Such a treasure has actually reached the king grade. The space within it is also shocking. At this moment, Go Tianxua was full of praise for the flame cloud spirit gourd. As for Su Fong, he was on edge. He was worried that Go Tianxua would take away the energy he had fused with the gourd in front of everyone. That would be equivalent to heavily injuring him. Fortunately, Go Tianxua didn't do such a thing in front of countless experts. Instead, he took out the flame cloud spirit gourd and let it float above the 5 experts. In other words, behind Su Fong, he began to prepare to absorb the essence that Su Fong had absorbed from the heavenly gourd spirit tree. "Begin!" shouted Go Tianxua. Under the suspicious gazes of many people, Su Fong formed a hand seal and released the same wood attribute true qi as the heavenly gourd spirit tree. A spirit flower actually grew out of the palm of his left hand. This spirit flower's aura was 80% similar to the heavenly gourd spirit tree's aura. This was clearly the spirit flower he had obtained from the heavenly gourd spirit tree. After the spirit flower appeared, what shocked everyone was that a large number of tentacles grew out of the flower and touched the bottom of the spirit tree. So he really is a cultivator with potential. Go Tianxua smiled deeply. Most likely, he hadn't believed Su Fong before. But now that he saw it with his own eyes, he had no choice but to believe it. After breaking through to the 10th level of calamity, my physical body's power has greatly changed. My wood attribute power is the same. The subduing dragon tree's left arm has been baptized by the heavenly tribulation. It's several times stronger than my wood attribute power. A large number of tentacles grew out and touched the bottom of the spirit tree. Then they drilled into the spirit tree. All the experts present let out startled cries. That was especially true of the 5 experts. Each of them was a flying immortal with 1 or 2 calamity tribulation heavenly Tao. But at this moment, they realized that their wood attribute power was no longer comparable to a calamity tribulation cultivator. Chapter 749. While everyone's attention was on Su Fong, he began to circulate his energy, which was filled with the essence of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. He immediately controlled his left arm to absorb its energy. That way, everyone would think that his wood-type divine ability came from the heavenly gourd spirit tree, and that it had nothing to do with his other abilities. How could they know that Su Fong's wood-type ability didn't come from the heavenly gourd spirit tree, and that it wasn't just the heavenly gourd spirit tree's energy? Rustle. Tentacles grew out of the dragon-taming wood's left arm and began to madly absorb the tree's essence from the bottom of the tree, causing the tentacles to tremble. However, as soon as the heavenly gourd spirit tree's energy was absorbed by the tentacles, half of it was intercepted by Su Fong, while the other half went through his back and into the flaming cloud spirit gourd. The 5 experts below were the most shocked. One of them shouted to Go Tian, "Elder Go, with this freak Hao Jia, the 5 of us are confident that we can take the heavenly gourd spirit tree within a few decades." A few decades is too long. I don't want to destroy the heavenly gourd spirit tree. If we cut it down directly from the bottom, we can do it in less than 10 years. But I need it to be perfect. That way, when we take it and move it into the eternal heaven domain, it will merge with the Earth's core within a few years. Once we destroy it, the spirit tree will also be destroyed. The only thing left is to use the spirit tree's corpse to refine Dharma treasures. The peerless expert, Go Tianxua, said majestically. His words were like an imperial edict. He then shouted, "I'll have everyone activate the formation to help you absorb the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence. I'll give you 20 years to absorb half of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's energy. Then you can easily pull the spirit tree out of the ground." Wasn't this an absolute order? With more than 200 experts following Go Tianxua's hand seals, the combined power of so many experts turned into a formation. Part of it went into Su Fong's body, and the other half went into the 5 experts' bodies. The speed at which the 5 great masters absorbed the spiritual trees had obviously increased, and so did Su Fong. However, Su Fong was secretly overjoyed. You were released Tao light from his divine aperture. Every cloud has a silver lining. These experts from Eternal Heaven Domain seemed to be fighting for the mystical gourd spirit tree, but who knew that Master would encounter such a great opportunity and use them to absorb the power of the mystical gourd spirit tree. I also didn't expect this to be a coincidence. The Eternal Heaven Realm's experts killed their way into the Zhuotian realm, not only to seize the Xinjia Gate, but also to seize the resources you were and speed up the absorption of power. Su Fang also did not expect the situation to take such a turn. At first, he had been controlled by Go Tianxua, and he had thought that Go Tianxua was only treating him as a slave. However, he had not expected that Go Tianxua had come for the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Furthermore, he had cleverly used his wood elemental abilities and openly devoured the heavenly gourd spirit tree's power in front of Go Tianxua and the other experts. But this was just the beginning. The mystical gourd tree was so huge that it couldn't be controlled in a few days. Su Fang still had a lot of things to do. The first thing he had to do was hide the majority of the mystical gourd spirit tree's essence in his body in front of all the experts. Su Fang released his purple Qi Dharma spirit, golden core origin, and 8 yang meridians. Because his body could not contain so much of the mystical gourd spirit tree's essence, he might as well draw it into various extraordinary spaces for now. Fire Cloud Spirit the gourd was in the back, and it absorbed the mystical gourd spirit tree's essence even more openly. Su Fang did not know whether to laugh or cry. Go Tianxua still thought that he would be able to obtain all of this in the end. It's about time. Master, you have so many extraordinary spaces in your body. As long as you carefully open a few channels, you can draw the mystical gourd spirit tree's essence into these spaces. Unfortunately, you can't use all of your power to absorb it, or the speed would be 10 times faster. After a while, the mystical gourd spirit tree's essence had filled his body to the brim. Fortunately, with Yuer's help, he was able to draw the essence into different spaces. Otherwise, his body would not be able to withstand the mystical gourd spirit tree's essence, nor could he suppress and merge it. Next, I have to secretly try to merge with the mystical gourd spirit tree's true body. Half a year later, Su Fang did not use any of his true Qi or Yuan spirit. With so many experts supporting him, what was there to be afraid of? Yuer was very worried when he heard that. Merging with the true body is different from merging with energy. Merging with the true body requires essence blood. Once the essence blood touches the mystical gourd spirit tree, who knows what will happen? I can't retreat now. Furthermore, the mystical gourd spirit tree's essence is not resisting. Perhaps merging with it is possible. I don't have to absorb it and then merge with it. If Master has decided, then let's do it. Of course I have to do it properly. With so many experts supporting me with formations, I don't need to waste any energy. Why not? Furthermore, even if I fail in the end and Go Tianxua finds out, with his 3 Calamity Dao cultivation, he probably won't be able to kill me. Furthermore, I can pay him more. As a result, essence blood condensed in the space of the dragon taming wood's left arm, forming countless small blood bubbles. The blood bubbles turned into hundreds and thousands of blood essences. Under Su Fang's control, the drops entered his palm from the dragon taming wood's left arm, and then entered the tentacles that grew out. After being concealed by the wood's spirit Qi of the tentacles, the blood essences quickly passed through the tentacles and entered the mystical gourd spirit tree. At that moment, Su Fang held his breath. He did not know what would happen next, but he was already prepared to have his Dao artifact protect him at all times. He also secretly had the 9-headed Fiend King, Brute Force Fiend King, Piercing Sky Fiend Sovereign, Wooling Goblin, Vermilion Emperor, 9-segment Earth Dragon, and the other big goblin ready. If he was really forced to fight with Go Tianxua, he could use his trump card to fight with these experts of the Eternal Heaven Domain. After all, he had never been fighting alone. Unfortunately, he could not use his innate divine power. If he could, the wood-type divine power contained in his innate magic treasure would be even more shocking. Russell, another half a year passed. Suddenly, the mystical gourd spirit tree above them trembled slightly. The five experts also felt this subtle change at such a close distance. They were still quietly observing. After a while, the movement became louder and louder. Even Go Tianshua behind them could clearly feel it. Go Tianshua's eyes flashed like lightning. What's going on? I don't know why, but it seems that the spirit gourd's consciousness is awakening. Or maybe we've touched the Realm Lord seal, causing the seal and the spirit tree to come alive. Currently, I can't tell what's going on. The five experts all looked at Go Tianshua in surprise. How could these people have known that I, single calamity realm cultivator, was secretly controlling everything? The heavenly gourd spirit tree is finally showing signs of activity. I wonder which world Lord Zhuotian planted this spirit tree. Finally, its true veil will be revealed. Only Su Fong continued to absorb the essence of the mystical gourd tree as usual, which was continuously absorbed by the flaming cloud spiritual gourd behind him. With my blood and some mana, I wonder if the mystical gourd tree's consciousness will reject me or accept me. From the current situation, I can't tell which outcome it will be. He continued to act like an obedient dog, listening to Go Tianshua's orders and absorbing the essence of the mystical gourd spirit tree. Time continued to pass. During this process, Su Fong's strength had reached the peak of the 10th level of the Calamity Realm because he had absorbed too much essence of the mystical gourd spirit tree. In other words, he could transcend the tribulation and step into the Ascension Realm at any time. This was the shocking change brought by absorbing the mystical gourd spirit tree. Calculating the time, 5 years had passed. Although he had changed a lot, the mystical gourd spirit tree's aura was still strong and unshakable. However, overall, the mystical gourd spirit tree spirit chi was obviously weaker. Clearly, everyone's joint absorption of the mystical gourd spirit tree had an effect. If this continued, they would probably reach Go Tianshua's expectations in 20 years. But the mystical gourd spirit tree's shaking was becoming more and more shocking. Now, the rustling sound could even affect the expert's hearing. Su Fong was also bewildered. Most likely, the mystical gourd spirit tree was truly boundless. Did it not gain anything from absorbing his blood? Sizzle. At this moment, the seal on the huge origin source Yuan stone spirit vein below actually started to burn on its own. Only after a while did they notice the disturbance. Go Tianshua arrived above the seal and looked. His expression immediately changed. The seal has been completely activated. Looks like the protector of the mystical gourd spirit tree will appear in the next second. So that's how it is. Not far away, Su Fong was listening carefully. The protector of the mystical gourd spirit tree is probably one of the experts under Realm Lord Zhuotian. In any case, I don't need to worry. Even if the protector really does come, Go Tianshua and the other experts will go and block it. What does that have to do with me? I'll just take this chance to absorb more essence. Who knows? I might even be able to use my true strength to absorb the tree's energy. Chi, chi, chi. Suddenly, a powerful tearing force came from the other side of the Earth's core, causing the Earth's core to shake. An expert had arrived. All the experts couldn't help looking over. Boom! The Earth's core exploded, and one black-robed figure after another appeared. Follow me. Go Tianxiong led dozens of experts, and the remaining 100 or so people continued to activate the formation to protect Su Fong and the 5 experts. You dare steal my Zhuotian realm's treasure? A middle-aged man let out an intimidating roar from the large number of black-robed figures. Most of the experts were frightened by this roar. Su Fong's expression changed, but he said doubtfully, "That voice is very familiar." "Master," you promptly said, "It's the aura of the dark forest. It's Sorcerer Heiyun." Sorcerer Heiyun? It really is him. What a coincidence. This Sorcerer Heiyun is in charge of the Outer Realm Islands. Why is he interfering with this mystical gourd spirit world? In an instant, Su Fong's eyes narrowed. Enemies are bound to meet. This person is so powerful. He will definitely fight with Go Tianshua. I can't escape now. How could I forget that I've already changed my aura? In this special environment, Sorcerer Heiyun can't recognize me. Why should I panic? You ants came to my Zhuotian realm and stole my treasure. Watch how I, Sorcerer Heiyun, will wipe you out today. Sorcerer Heiyun appeared with a flash of dust. Surrounding him were dozens of expressionless black-robed people who had been sealed. They were probably puppets, but not ordinary puppets. To be brought here by Sorcerer Heiyun, they must be very powerful. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of black-robed puppets immediately charged out. And at the place where Sorcerer Heiyun had come from, there were still several figures hidden in the Earth's core. At this moment, before Sorcerer Heiyun could move, a figure passed by those black-robed puppets and teleported in front of Sorcerer Heiyun. Sorcerer Heiyun examined the newcomer. It was Go Qinshua, an expert from the Eternal Heaven Realm. Ha! So you're also an Origin Realm expert under a Realm Lord. Then you and I are the same, Sorcerer Heiyun. Go Qinshua examined Sorcerer Heiyun. The experts behind him and the black-robed puppets were already fighting each other. He continued to snort. If it was before, I would be a bit afraid of you. After all, this is the Zhuotian realm, not my Eternal Heaven realm. Chapter 750. Go Tianshua didn't even put Master Heiyun in his eyes. Master Heiyun mocked back. You don't have to be afraid of me. This isn't the Eternal Heaven domain. I'll keep you here and make you unable to escape the Zhuotian domain forever. Kill. Under the spirit tree, Su Fong, who was crazily absorbing the essence of the heavenly gourd spirit tree, was using his perfection stage ability while listening to the conversation between the two experts. He couldn't wait for the two of them to kill each other. Go Qianshua's aura quickly erupted. He was truly worthy of being a 3 calamity expert. Then let's see how strong you can be in the Zhuotian world. At that time, Zhuotian won't be able to save you. Right now, there are quite a few powers coming from all directions, and there are even immortals. My Eternal Heaven World's World Lord and immortals are all here. They're thinking of a way to snatch the Xinjia Gate. Zhuotian domain, Lord won't be able to take care of you. So what? Are we going to let you come here for nothing and take everything away? It's hard to say who will live and who will die in the end. You still want to take the Xinjia Gate? Master Heiyun also exploded his aura. Bang bang. The two Supreme Being experts each used their teleportation speed to forcefully dodge the attack. Then, a figure collided in the distance. A destructive force caused the Earth's core to explode and collapse. A large area collapsed, and debris was buried, forming a dust cloud. Su Fong looked around. The two forces were fighting fiercely, and this place was controlled by the 5 experts, who were absorbing the essence of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. This was the opportunity he was waiting for. I really came to the right place this time. The heavens are helping me. He was very excited. Even Master Heiyun is here. Maybe even more experts will come later, and Master is still very happy. Didn't understand. No matter who comes, they have to fight with experts like Go Tianshua and Master Heiyun first. How can their attention be on the heavenly gourd spirit tree? I can use all my strength to absorb and fuse with the heavenly gourd spirit tree. I can also use the people below to fuse. This is a rare opportunity, and I have to hurry. The two experts can't kill each other quickly. After saying that, Su Fong began to plan carefully. Next, he would fuse with the heavenly gourd spirit tree. He could sense that the heavenly gourd spirit tree extended tens of thousands of meters into the depths of the Earth's core. Moreover, its roots drilled deep into the Earth's core. If he wanted to forcefully take it, he would have to cut it down. After pondering for a long time, Su Fong smiled and looked down at the 5 experts, as well as the other experts in the area. In his body inside, the life-bound magic treasure, Xian Huang, 6 Paths Pagoda. More than 20,000 junior commanders passed through the passage and entered the space of the divine image Jade Wall. He also moved the soul essence spiritual meridian he obtained from the old celestial cave palace into the god image Jade Wall space. The last figure also flew into the divine image Jade Wall. Exalted Master Yuezhen. More than 20,000 small commanders, led by several great demon kings, were waiting. Exalted Master Yuezhen also didn't know what Su Fong was going to do. He also stared at the Zhuotian realm's soul essence spirit vein floating at the side. Su Fang's consciousness and Yuer descended together, and their consciousness covered all the big goblin. Everyone, listen up. Next, I want all of you to use all your strength and refine the Zhuotian realm spirit vein with the Tao artifact. Help me fuse with the Zhuotian realm's #1 spiritual item, the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. You don't have to worry about exhausting your energy, as there will be an endless amount of world energy and spirit gourd spirit essence for you to absorb. Master, what do you want me to do? Exalted Yuezhan bowed. You are in charge of leading all the junior commanders to control the seals and fuse with the Tao artifact. Refine this soul essence spiritual vein and help me fuse with more of the Zhuotian realm's origin. With the world's origin, I will be able to fuse with the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree faster. Begin. After giving the order, Su Fang passed the seals to each of the junior commanders. Vermilion Emperor, 9-section Earth Dragon, Heavenly Demon Venerable, Wooling Goblin, 9-headed Demon King, and Brute Force Demon King began to lead the junior commanders to surround the soul essence spiritual vein. Exalted Yuezhan began to guide the Tao artifact's divine power to support himself and the junior commanders. Everyone's combined energy transformed into a powerful formation that began to burn the soul essence spiritual vein. It directly burned and refined the world energy, which poured into Su Fang's body. The world energy is really comfortable. If this continues, with so many big goblins and the Tao artifact, I will be able to obtain even more world energy in a short time. His consciousness returned. Su Fang slowly opened his eyes and looked at the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. Go Tianxua can only use experts to forcefully extract your energy, but I, Su Fang, will use the world's origin as well as your energy to absorb you. At this moment, he didn't need to absorb the world energy around the Earth's core. His body was also crazily absorbing world energy. This was the benefit of having so many junior commanders. More than 20,000 junior commanders and the Tao artifact. This was equivalent to a large force coming out to take away the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. Life Treasure. After waiting for a while, he began to release even more energy. First, he used the Life Treasure to support him. Then, he used the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's essence to hide in the surroundings, trying his best not to let the 5 experts discover him. In this situation, the 5 experts should not be paying attention to Su Fang, but the experts from the Zhuotian realm. This was the advantage that Su Fang had. After using the Life Treasure, Su Fang pushed his wood-type energy to the limit. A tentacle grew out of his left arm and drilled into the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. Then he let the tentacle crazily peel off the insides and grow more tentacles. There were more than 100 times more tentacles than the spirit flowers in front of him. If one was inside the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree, they would be able to see how incredible it was. A new plant was beginning to grow inside the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. It felt like this plant was going to occupy the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's body. Soon, a large number of tentacles formed a tree nest inside the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree, and this tree nest began to crazily absorb the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's essence. It's not just absorbing the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's essence, but also the world energy. The Spirit Tree has been fused with the Zhuotian realm for so long. Absorbing its essence is the same as absorbing the Zhuotian realm's essence. Very quickly, that essence poured into Su Fang's left arm and then into his entire body. In addition to the power of the soul, essence, spirit vein world that he had refined in the Tao treasure space, the essence of the Zhuotian realm in Su Fang's body was surging like a tidal wave. It was strengthening Su Fang's body at such a terrifying speed. The Zhuotian realm's world energy caused Su Fang's senses to constantly increase. The more world energy he had, the stronger he became within the Zhuotian realm. At the same time, he used the world energy to absorb the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's essence. Even Su Fang had never thought that there would be a day when he could so smoothly absorb the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's essence. as well as the core world's energy. Go Tianshuo and Master Heiyun are currently in the distance, fighting in a hole in the Earth's core that was created by an explosion. Neither of them has the time to care about this place. I have to take advantage of this opportunity. His strength and ability had reached the peak. The speed at which he absorbed the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence was like a flood. Furthermore, he wasn't just absorbing it. He was also fusing and refining the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence at the same time. This meant that every time he absorbed the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence, he could fuse with it at the same time to increase his wood-type ability. He could also use the increased wood-type ability to absorb the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence. This had formed a cycle that allowed him to fuse with the heavenly gourd spirit tree at an unimaginable speed. I can undergo my tribulation now. Unfortunately, there's no chance. If I could go out and undergo my tribulation now, I would be able to absorb it even faster. Unexpectedly, a few years had passed so quickly. Su Fang's cultivation base had reached the peak of the 10th level of the catastrophe realm. Unfortunately, he couldn't undergo his tribulation here. Sorcerer Heiyun and Go Tianshuo were still fighting, and they were gradually leaving the Earth's core and going to the surface. Every time they fought, Su Fang could feel that the Earth's core and even the heavenly gourd realm was trembling. There are many familiar auras approaching. Suddenly, Su Fang thought he could smoothly obtain the heavenly gourd spirit tree like this. After all, Go Tianshuo and Black Cloud had already left the core. However, he didn't expect more experts to approach. When he used his full circle ability, it would have been better if he didn't look. 2 of the experts were among the 5 that sealed the Outer Realm Islands. Apart from the 2 of them, there were more than a dozen experts. They were all at the 2nd level of the Calamity Realm. Coupled with their source divine abilities, their strength was at the 3rd level of the Calamity Realm. For example, Black Cloud and Go Tianshuo should both be at the 3rd level of the Calamity Realm. However, their strength wasn't limited to that. Once they used their world energy, their strength would surpass the Ascension Realm. They were the true sovereigns of small worlds. They were invincible sovereigns, comparable to immortals. The only people who could surpass cultivators like Go Tianshuo and Black Cloud were the even more illusory realm lords. Revered General Long Heaven Realm's experts lured the core to the sky. We must eliminate these Long Heaven Realm cultivators. It won't be difficult to eliminate them. Everyone, use your Earth Divine abilities to trap them. They aren't weak, but we have our Source Divine abilities. Let's use a formation and merge it with our Source Divine abilities. If we fight them head-on, who knows how long it'll take. These experts from Master Heiyun's camp were planning. Su Fang heard all of this. They want to use a formation to shackle the 5 experts below and the remaining 100 experts. Then I'll be shackled as well. He frowned. He didn't expect that after the 2 giants left, these experts would come. Since they want to use a formation, then I shouldn't kill my way out. I'll stay here and absorb the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence. A mere formation can't do anything to me. Even if I'm shackled by the formation, the 5 experts below will deal with it. Su Fang calmed down. He planned to continue absorbing the heavenly gourd spirit tree, even if he was trapped by the formation. About a few days later, the experts under Black Cloud finally used their world force to activate the formation. A large amount of rocks, dust, and particles formed a layer of formation that suddenly enveloped the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Only then did the 5 experts and the surrounding experts notice. They were so frightened that they stopped absorbing the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence and gathered together. Only Su Fang was still absorbing. The formation around them suddenly underwent a shocking change. It quickly turned into stone. They were completely trapped by the earth formation. Everyone, don't worry. Use your power to attack the formation. The 5 expert strength was also very terrifying. They had only lost a lot of their true chi after absorbing the heavenly gourd spirit tree. The others were the same. They led over 100 people to activate their magic treasures and release attacks. Large amounts of cracks appeared on the formation, but they couldn't break it in a short time. All of this didn't affect Su Fong in the slightest. He was still absorbing a shocking amount of energy. His perfect realm ability suddenly made him reveal a surprised expression. He looked outside the formation. More experts have come. What an evil aura. So it was a perfect realm ability that had sensed movement in the depths of the formation. It wasn't a righteous path expert. Rumble. In an instant, a deafening explosion came from outside the formation. Clearly, the righteous path expert and the experts under Black Cloud were fighting. Chapter 751. The Zhuotian world is really as Yu Yingying said. Not only are there undercurrents, but experts from all sides are brazenly rampaging through the Zhuotian world. Hearing the commotion, Su Fong's expression became grave. If that's the case, then there are immortals and world lords. The Zhuotian world is unable to deal with them. The unluckiest ones are the cultivators of the Zhuotian world, as well as the innocent commoners. This is an apocalypse for them. At this time, he suddenly felt that the Zhuotian world was filled with killing intent. It was about to become a whirlpool, and this whirlpool would turn into a slaughter that would engulf every corner. There seems to be some movement outside. The formation is no longer strong. Everyone seized this opportunity. Inside, the 5 experts led a group of experts to attack several times. Just as they were worrying, they suddenly felt the formation's aura weaken quite a bit. They hastily joined hands once more. A huge formation sword light slashed across the stone formation, creating a large hole in the formation. Everyone, kill your way out first. Wait for Old Go to come back. Don't be afraid. Old Go still has world lords and immortals behind him. All of a sudden, more than 100 experts charged out of the formation along with the 5 great experts. But a portion of the Black Cloud experts had charged in first, and the 2 sides began to fight within the formation. All of this still didn't have much to do with Su Fong. The more he absorbed the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence, the more his wood attribute energy grew. More tentacles extended into the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Su Fong also sensed that the heavenly gourd spirit tree's body was shaking more violently, and the tree's overall aura was weaker than before. At this rate, perhaps in a few more years, they would be able to obtain the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Haha, you ants. I'm an expert of the devil path. Do you think you can defeat me with poison? Half a month later, suddenly, a black-robed person broke through the formation. He was surrounded by several Black Cloud experts, but he was extremely arrogant. He charged in with devilish chi. Su Fong secretly sized up the black-robed person. A devil path expert actually has the strength of 3 calamities. How powerful! This kind of person must be a supreme overlord of small world. This person was adept at using poison gas. He had fused a large amount of poison gas into his demonic Tao divine arts. In this way, any one of his attacks could bring indescribable pressure to righteous Tao cultivators. He did not show any mercy when killing people. He wielded a royal grade demon sword of outstanding quality. With just a few moves, he was able to kill a second Tao calamity expert. That was a true expert. His strength was on par with Sorcerer Heiyun and Go Tianxua. It was no wonder that he was so arrogant and disregarded so many experts. Even though Great Elder Heizun has 3 natural disasters, I don't think he's as strong as this demon. I wonder if this demon is a true demon. If he's a true demon and has 3 natural disasters, then he's definitely an expert in the flying immortal realm. If I can, I'll definitely suppress this monster and Go Tianxua. Suppressing one of them is like controlling a supreme leader. He continued to merge with the gourd spirit tree, but Su Fong was also carefully sensing the movements around him. Fortunately, those people were all fighting each other. Some of them seemed to know that he was a calamity realm weakling, so they all ignored his existence. The gourd spirit tree is truly worthy of being the #1 spiritual item in the Zhuotian world. When I first saw you, I wanted to obtain you. That devil expert got even closer, and no one could stop him. In addition, Go Tianxua and the other experts were fighting with Sorcerer Heiyun's subordinates. Only a few experts were able to hold back this demon expert. He approached the heavenly gourd spirit tree forcefully, and a few people were chasing after him from behind. With a slash of his sword, he sent them flying high up in the sky. The difference in strength was not just a little bit. Not good. This demon from the upper sky demon world is getting closer to the gourd spirit tree. He's probably going to use a magic treasure to forcefully attack the gourd spirit tree. We have to quickly notify His Holiness. Notify His Holiness. The experts under Sorcerer Heiyun, who had been sent flying, seemed to know what the demon expert was going to do. They ignored their injuries and gratefully activated their talismans. Upper Sky Demon World. Su Fong heard everything and stared at the demon expert. The Upper Sky Demon World is very far away from the Zhuotian world. It's almost the distance from the Zhuotian world to the immortal primordial world. It's a small world full of demon Dao cultivators. It's one of the 4 great continents of the Zhuotian world, the Demon King continent. The demon sects there, such as the 100 Demon sect, the Demon Worship sect, and the Earth Fiend sect, are more or less related to the Upper Sky Demon world. He knew the Upper Sky Demon world very well. When he was suppressing Wan Mo and the Supreme Demon King, he had heard about the Upper Sky Demon world from them. He had also seen it in some ancient books. In that galaxy, it was not only the Upper Sky Demon world. There were other small worlds that were ruled by demon Dao forces. It was similar to the Immortal Melody world. This demon expert's methods are cruel. He kills without batting an eye. He's a murderous demon. If he goes to plunder the Zhuotian world, the other forces will have rivers of blood and mountains of corpses. At that time, many cultivators will be captured by him and turned into slaves. They will become slaves of the demon Dao world. Su Fongdao wanted to make a move and suppress the demon expert. But if he made a move now, not only would he not be able to obtain the heavenly gourd spirit tree, but he also might not be able to suppress the demon expert. The speed and strength of 3 calamity Dao powerhouses were definitely above his. He didn't even have absolute confidence in suppressing 2 calamity Dao powerhouses. Haha, there's also a calamity Dao cultivator like you. You're really extraordinary to be able to absorb the heavenly gourd spirit tree's power like this. The demon expert also appeared in Su Fong, but he was extremely disdainful. I brought a good treasure this time. Let's cut down the heavenly gourd spirit tree and use it to create a few peerless divine weapons and a cave residence. Haha, perfect, truly perfect. Damn it, don't let me see you again. Su Fong felt his hair stand on end. Chi-Chi. Just as the demon expert was about to make a move, the injured experts behind him blocked him once more. However, this demon expert was truly unimaginably powerful. He turned around and used his divine image. Sword light shot out of the space. The few experts were able to resist before, but after a few moves, a few of them were killed, and the remaining 2 were seriously injured and lost their ability to fight. The demon collected the corpses, as if he wanted to do something with the corpses. You overestimate yourself. Unless you let that Zhuotian realm's origin expert outside kill his way here. Who said that my Zhuotian realm has no one? Suddenly, a vast and mighty voice came from above. Before the person arrived, the voice was already overbearing. Heavenly gourd spirit tree, you are not destined to die. Hearing the commotion, the demon expert was filled with killing intent. He glanced at the heavenly gourd spirit tree and said, "Next time, this sovereign will come and take you away, haha." There's still a next time. 2 phantoms charged over with great might. It was the supreme Yang Soul divine might. How can your righteous cultivators' Yang Souls be as powerful as my demonic cultivators? The demon expert actually used the demonic disintegration seal. Several Yang Souls rushed out and clashed with the 2 figures, gradually crushing the 2 Yang Souls. This demon is the great demon king of the heavenly devil realm. If your Yang Souls can kill this sovereign, what qualifications do you have to be a demon king? The demon expert was very proud and immediately flew away. Heavenly devil realm, great demon king. An expert, an absolute expert. This is the first time I've seen someone use the demonic disintegration seal. Su Fong, who was in a daze, was also ready to escape at any time. Demonic experts are not easy to deal with, but this great demon king's Yang Soul divine ability is not even 1/10 of mine. Wait until I step into the Ascension realm. Let's see how I deal with a demon lord like you. Chi-Chi. He could even see the Demon King's shadow. He thought that this person was going to escape like this, but he didn't expect that two large handprints would come from above and almost kill him in the dust explosion. He couldn't have died just like that, right? Sure enough, the great Demon King jumped up from the dust explosion and looked at the two experts flying over from the rock formation. The demonic sword in his hand began to burn with demonic flames. Su Fong stared at the two experts who appeared. It was a man and a woman who looked to be in their early 30s. Another two experts as powerful as Master Heiyun from the Zhuotian realm. Sure enough, the Zhuotian realm had more than one expert, and of course, there was more than one Master Heiyun. If a world had such experts, it was indeed possible to control a world. The three experts didn't waste any words and started fighting. Two experts against the Great Demon King, and the Great Demon King could only choose to hide for now. Fortunately, I didn't choose to escape. At this moment, there were no more terrifying experts in the surroundings. Only Go Tianxuo and Master Heiyun's remaining experts, as well as the black-robed puppets, were fighting in the surrounding ruins. Su Fong was alone at the bottom of the spirit tree, using all his strength to absorb the essence of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. He felt that he was the only existence in this world, and he was in a state where his pulse, aura, and breathing were the same as the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Su Fong was also speechless. This state gave him a mysterious feeling of being a part of the Zhuotian realm. The tentacles that he had nurtured into the heavenly gourd spirit tree had already grown even more tentacles inside the spirit tree. This also meant that he was absorbing more and more energy. He thought that he would be able to smoothly obtain the heavenly gourd spirit tree while the experts were fighting each other. But at this moment, he looked towards the depths behind him. It's Go Tianxuo. Why is he back? He looked towards the depths of the ruins in shock. In just a moment, a familiar aura had returned. Go Tianxuo. With no other choice, Su Fong could only hide the power of his life treasure and deliberately draw even more essence into the flame cloud's spirit gourd. He didn't control the tentacles that had been nurtured into the depths of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. When Go Tianxuo appeared, he didn't immediately go to the spirit tree. Instead, he gathered the experts in the ruins. There were still dozens of people alive. Go Tianxuo also used thunder and unleashed several bursts of sword qi, killing the last surviving experts of Master Heiyun. Only then did the dozens of people slowly fly over. Someone asked, Elder Go, did you kill Master Heiyun? Go Tianxuo shook his head. If I wanted to kill him, it would be difficult to do so in the Zhuotian realm. I only had the other experts rush over and stall him outside. So Elder Go, you're determined to cut down the heavenly gourd spirit tree. No, if I wanted to cut him down, I would have done it long ago. This heavenly gourd spirit tree is a spiritual treasure of heaven and earth. If I bring it back to the eternal heaven realm, it will allow the small world to continuously grow. Perhaps in the future, the small world will fly into a large world, and the world's matter will also continue to explore the larger world. Look at you people. You can't even compare to a tribulation cultivator. He won't panic, but he's still absorbing energy, shouted Go Tianxuo, bringing the experts with him to speed up. In an instant, they arrived behind Su Fong. Go Tianxuo hurriedly asked, How is it? Su Fong was very calm, but his expression was humble. I've already absorbed an astonishing amount of essence and poured it into the spirit gourd, but I'm afraid I won't be able to support it alone. I hope more experts can help. If so, I'm confident that I'll be able to absorb most of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence within 5 years. Chapter 752. 5 years is too long, and I don't want to cut down the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Go Tianxuo pondered for a moment, then signaled for all the experts to form hand seals. We'll help you absorb the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence. I don't think anyone will disturb you for a long time. Those experts have all come for the Xinjia Gate. It was another formation. This time, even Go Tianxuo released his spiritual qi, allowing him to control the formation and strengthen Su Fong's body. As a result, The rate at which Su Fong absorbed the spirit tree's essence increased. It seems that the increase in rate is due to the formation of those experts. In reality, it's just me releasing a portion of my essence. I'm going to use your energy to strengthen the Tao item space. Together with the big goblin, you'll be able to absorb even more world energy. Su Fong switched the dragon into a phoenix. He released the spirit tree's essence hidden in his body, then stealthily guided the expert's energy into the divine image jade annulus. This allowed Go Tianxuo and the dozens of experts' energy to cooperate with the big goblin to refine the origin spirit tree's essence and help Su Fong absorb even more world energy. As a result, the world energy in Su Fong's 8 yang meridians was very clear. It was mainly from the mortal emperor world and the Zhuotian world. The rest of the world energy came from the origin god world and the Wutan world. The world strength of the primordial god world was naturally obtained from fighting the powerhouses of the primordial god empire over and over again. He had obtained it from the Big Dipper Emperor, the Third Crown Prince, and other enemies. In the past, when Su Fong had assisted the divine sect in rescuing experts, he had also obtained some world strength from the primordial god world. The Wutan world's world energy mostly came from the 7-star Demon Island, the 7-star Dojo, and other places in the Wutan world. Currently, Su Fong's world energy mainly came from the 4 minor worlds. Of course, there was also world energy from other minor worlds, but it was very faint. All of the world energy could fuse together and form 8 galaxies. They would constantly condense into hollow galaxies in the 8 yang meridians. These were endless treasures. No one knew what these galaxies would become in the future. The power of the world absorbed by the Su Fong was absorbed by the starry rivers in the 8 yang meridians. The starlight in each starry river became more and more dazzling. Time continued to pass, and, as expected, no other experts came here during this period. A large number of tentacles entered the depths of the heavenly gourd spirit tree to absorb more essence. Su Fong felt that the tentacles that had grown from his left arm into the spirit tree were his hands, touching everything inside the spirit tree. It seems that Go Tianxuo won't give up so easily. Once I obtain the heaven gourd spirit tree, he'll keep an eye on me. It seems I have to think of a way to deal with him. He also saw Go Tianxuo talking with a few experts. Eldergo, this brat is truly amazing. He actually absorbed close to half of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's essence. I also didn't expect to meet this kid on the way. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had much confidence without 50 years. Hearing this, Go Tianxuo ordered the exhausted experts. Everyone give it one last push. Soon, I'll use a peerless technique to pull up the heavenly gourd spirit tree. A peerless technique. Clearly, Go Tianxuo has some kind of heaven-defying power. When he uses it later, he'll definitely be able to pull the heavenly gourd spirit tree out of the Earth's core. Since he's here, he's already prepared everything. All right, then I'll continue bewitching him. Once he collects the heavenly gourd spirit tree, I'll think of a way to sneak attack him. Go Tianxuo's actions were unable to escape Su Fongda's full power. Now that he knew that Go Tianxuo still had some tricks up his sleeve, Su Fong began to plan his next move. After another 2 years, the heavenly gourd spirit tree's spiritual qi had disappeared by quite a bit. Now it looked like the Earth's core was gloomy. The heavenly gourd spirit tree felt much older. Its translucent body had turned an earthen yellow color, and pieces of its bark had curled up. Clearly, too much of its essence had been absorbed, and the heavenly gourd spirit tree was gradually losing its power. Go Tianxuo suddenly ordered everyone to withdraw their formations. He shouted at Su Fongda, "All right, brat, is it about to start?" He immediately stopped absorbing the heavenly gourd spirit tree's energy. He first drew the inner tentacles back into his body, and then slowly drew the outer tentacles back into his left palm. His spiritual qi was constantly disappearing, and his wood-type aura was gradually dissipating. After returning to normal, Su Fong didn't hide his tribulation aura at all. He grabbed the flame cloud spirit gourd and flew over to Go Tianxuo. Go Tianxuo naturally received the flame cloud spirit gourd. After letting Su Fong activate it, he looked inside and smiled proudly. Not bad, very good. Once we collect the heavenly gourd spirit tree, I'll detoxify your poison. You'll serve me from now on. Su Fong nodded excitedly. This subordinate is just a wandering cultivator from the Zhuotian world. If I can serve senior, it'll be my greatest fortune. This junior will definitely serve master with all his might. Go Tianxuo then led his experts and pointed at the origin primal stone spirit vein. Now, all of you work together and break the sealing primal stones connected to the heavenly gourd spirit tree's countless roots. Those primal stones will be yours. They're the world's origin primal stones, and they'll be of great use to your cultivation. Whoosh! Dozens of experts unleashed their divine might, all of them showing off their abilities. As for Su Fong, he stood behind Go Tianxuo and didn't participate in the operation. Some people had called him over, but he had used too much energy and his cultivation base was too low to refuse. Go Tianxuo also didn't say anything, and they didn't make things difficult for Su Fong. You curiously asked, Master, those are origin primal stones. Why aren't you going? Su Fong smiled shrewdly. There's a reason why I'm not going. The sealing primal stones have been fused with the heavenly gourd spirit tree for so many years, and the seal is incomparably sturdy. What if the world lord who planted the heavenly gourd spirit tree has some sort of trick hidden inside? It's best to be careful. Just like that, he watched as those experts swaggered over to the sealing primal stones and took out their Dharma treasures. I think even Go Tianxuo's thoughts are similar to mine. He's also worried that there's some sort of sealing power under the primal stones. Su Fong glanced over again. He felt that Go Tianxuo was not only a peerless expert, but also a shockingly shrewd expert. Boom! Boom! Dozens of experts also had the greedy idea of snatching the sealed origin source primal stone. They waved their magic treasures and released attacks. The primal stones were covered in explosions, and even the heavenly gourd spirit tree was trembling. The earth's core began to collapse. Boom! Go Tianxuo and Su Fong were waiting outside. In front of them was a cloud of dust and falling rocks. But in less than half an incense stick's worth of time, a burst of flames erupted from within the primal stones, spreading in every direction. In the blink of an eye, it began to push towards Su Fong and Go Tianxuo. Su Fong began to retreat in fright. As for Go Tianxuo, he activated a defensive barrier in front of him. All kinds of explosions and auras smashed into his defensive barrier, causing rumbling sounds to ring out. It gave Su Fong a feeling that this terrifying energy would devour his defensive barrier. Even Go Tianxuo would die under this aura. Could it be that there really is some terrifying energy sealed within the primal stones? Some crystalline light flickered. Su Fong saw that those crystalline lights were the primal stones. Thinking about it, it wasn't hard to figure out how there could be primal stones. Roughly an hour later, the shock waves finally faded. Go Tianxuo was gasping for breath. He sighed and sighed. As expected, there really was a trap. With such destructive energy, even I would have been killed. The dust gradually scattered. There were corpses everywhere, but there were still a few people who had used extraordinary magical treasures to preserve their lives. They hastily flew over to Go Tianxuo. Those experts trembled in front of Go Tianxuo. There was a restrictive seal below. After it was activated, a burst of energy instantly exploded. Only a few of us survived. How strange. We've been absorbing the essence of the spirit gourd this entire time, but we didn't disturb that energy. I didn't expect. Acting surprised, Go Tianxuo didn't say anything more. Only Su Fong knew how treacherous Go Tianxuo was. He acted one way in front of others and another behind others. He treated these experts as cannon fodder. He had also followed them to the heavenly gourd spirit tree. He hadn't expected a large number of its roots to be destroyed. As for the primal stones and spirit veins, they had long since been turned to fragments. However, in one of the origin source fragments, there was a sealing light. Go Tianxuo waved his hand and sucked all the primal stones into his palm. He grabbed a fragment with light and smashed it with his palm. There was actually a talisman within. It was an extremely ancient talisman, and its aura was filled with the essence of the Zhuotian realm. Furthermore, it wasn't ordinary world energy, but a cold and desolate energy that resembled starlight. Damn, that talisman should have been left behind by a realm lord, and it's not ordinary world energy. It's the same as the human emperor's inheritance. It's the essence of a realm lord that had cultivated for many years. What treasure! I have to get it. Waiting for the true inheritance of the Zhuotian realm. With it as the core, I can cultivate the Zhuotian realm's power. He was excited, but he hid it very quickly. He could only watch as the talisman fell into Go Tianshuo's hand. Go Tianshuo was an origin expert, so he could naturally see the talisman's origin. Everyone, be careful. Once I activate my power, you'll all fly out of the Earth's core with me. He put away the talisman and gave them a command. Then, he grabbed a strand of immortal light. It was the power of an immortal, not a Tao item. It seemed to be some kind of power condensed by an immortal and given to Go Tianshuo to control. Go Tianshuo then used a Tao item's immortal light. He began to control the Tao item while releasing the immortal's power to activate it. In an instant, with a whoosh, an immortal light shot out of the Tao item and turned into an immortal light chain. Rustle, rustle. The immortal light chain suddenly drilled into the Earth's core and wrapped around the heavenly gourd spirit tree more than 100 times. Then, Go Tianshuo controlled the immortal light chain and slowly flew up with a group of experts. The chain also flew up with him and continued to wrap around the heavenly gourd spirit tree. The chain was like a spirit rune that wrapped around the heavenly gourd spirit tree from the bottom. So his method is the power that an immortal sealed for him. This immortal's power is too terrifying. Even Go Tianshuo can't control it. Then, he used the immortal's power to slowly activate the Tao item. The power of two great worlds fused and turned into a chain that wrapped around the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Wasn't this the same as an immortal attacking the heavenly gourd spirit tree? Seeing this, Su Feng finally understood how terrifying the power behind Go Tianshuo was. He was sure that this person not only had a realm lord behind him, but also an immortal. He himself was a powerhouse with 3 calamity realms, and with a Tao item, his strength was on the same level as Master Heiyun and Lord Adu. He was indeed 80% confident that he could take the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Under such shocking methods, it took them 5 days to finally shatter the ground with their auras and reach the sky along the heavenly gourd spirit tree. The immortal light chain continued to wrap around the tree. Under Go Tianshuo's control, everyone slowly reached the top of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Then, with his other hand, he grabbed the flaming cloud spirit gourd. Chapter 753. The immortal light chains were about to lock the entire heavenly gourd spirit tree. The other experts were waiting for Go Tianshuo to take away this peerless spirit tree. Sneak attack, Go Tianshuo. Wait for the moment he pulls out the heavenly gourd spirit tree. As for one of the catastrophe realm cultivators, Su Feng was at the back, looking around. His cold gaze revealed his conflicted feelings. The heavenly gourd spirit tree would probably be taken away by Go Tianshuo, which meant that he had to sneak attack Go Tianshuo. This kind of expert also had the power of an immortal and a Tao item. Even if it was a sneak attack, would it be easy to succeed? Guard the surroundings with me as the center. Who knows? I might still run into trouble. However, Go Tianshuo wouldn't give Su Feng a chance to sneak attack, so he ordered the experts to surround him. This way, Su Feng would be under the eyes of the experts, so how could it be easy to sneak attack him? He could only give up for now and treat himself as an outsider. He also used the perfection ability. At this moment, the perfection ability looked deep into the ground. At the core of the ruins where the spirit tree's essence had been absorbed, a large number of chains peeled off some immortal light lines and drilled into the spirit roots of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Go Tianshuo was indeed a peerless expert. Once he controlled the entire heavenly gourd spirit tree and used the power of a Tao item and an immortal, how could he not subdue a spirit tree in a small world? It would probably take a few more months to finally control the spirit tree. While waiting, Su Feng seemed to be obediently floating, but in reality, he was still controlling the junior commander to refine the remaining origin spirit vein in the Tao item. There were only a few dozen feet of origin spirit vein that hadn't been refined yet, which allowed Su Fong to fuse with a huge origin gem of the Zhuotian world. This made him confident that he could stand shoulder to shoulder with any expert other than the Realm Lord and Master Heiyun. As long as he broke through to the Catastrophe Realm, he believed that his Zhuotian world's origin gem would also surpass Master Heiyun's. Go Tianxuo will give me 2 treasures that I must obtain: the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree and the Origin Rune Talisman I obtained from sealing the meteorite fragment. While he was frantically refining the Origin Soul Essence Spirit Vein, Su Fong was constantly calculating that Rune Talisman is too important. It is equivalent to the Zhuotian realm's most essential power. Once I fuse with it, it is equivalent to obtaining a bit of the Zhuotian realm's origin inheritance. With the Rune Talisman as the core, after fusing with it, I will be able to cultivate the true Zhuotian realm's origin. With his current strength, he had already reached the peak of the 10th level of the Catastrophe Realm. If it weren't for Go Tianxua's immortal strength and Tao artifact, he could have easily ambushed him. Half a year passed. Suddenly, a shocking aura emanated from Go Tianxua's back. After the momentum passed, he reached out with his left hand, and the flaming cloud spiritual gourd appeared in his hand. It's going to start. Su Fong, who was at the back, had never expected that the peerless spirit tree in the hearts of the people of the Zhuotian realm would be snatched away today. Even if he became a realm lord and controlled a world, could it be that he was unable to protect his own strength? Go Tianxuo forcefully activated the flaming cloud spirit gourd, and a large amount of spirit tree essence began to flow into the immortal light chains. At the same time, the power of the Tao artifact on his body became stronger. He didn't know how powerful the Tao artifact that Go Tianxuo had fused with was, but at least he had fused with it more than the third prince. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to control the heavenly gourd spirit tree so easily in a few years. This scene caused Su Fong to inwardly suck in a breath of cold air. Not only did Go Tianxuo use his immortal strength to bind the heavenly gourd spirit tree, but he also used its essence to strengthen his immortal strength. This way, his immortal strength will be able to control the spirit tree better through its own power and pull it out from the earth's core. Rise! Under the protection of a few experts, Go Tianxuo finally started to collect the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Thunder's aura exploded in the air. The immortal light chains with the spirit tree's astonishing aura also began to shake. Then, creaking sounds could be heard from the abyss of the heavenly gourd realm below. This sound kept shaking in all directions. The continent of the heavenly gourd realm was clearly shaking slightly. Layers of giant waves rose in the water around the continent. Whoosh, whoosh. The sound suddenly changed again. Deep in the heavenly gourd spirit tree's territory, it felt like the earth was squeezing and shattering. The heavenly gourd spirit tree shook violently, and many leaves fell. Soon, the heavenly gourd spirit tree started to grow bit by bit along with the immortal light chains. This wasn't growing at all. It was being pulled out by Go Tianxuo bit by bit and separated from the heavenly gourd realm. Su Fong couldn't help but sigh. He really did it. I used to think that the heavenly gourd spirit tree would stay here forever. I can't believe it still can't resist the power of humans. He looked down at the heavenly gourd spirit tree again. It was at least 100 feet above the ground. At this rate, it would be completely pulled out from the heavenly gourd realm in a few years. He thought that Go Tianxuo would continue waiting like this. Little did he know, he directly activated his Tao artifact. The Tao artifact appeared. It turned out to be a teapot Tao artifact under the immortal's power. This was the first time Su Fong had seen such a Tao artifact. If the teapot Tao artifact wasn't a Tao artifact, it would definitely be inconspicuous among ordinary Dharma treasures. But at this time, the Tao artifact's power was exploding and immortal patterns appeared. This was a Tao artifact from the Great World. Yuer also said, the quality of this Tao artifact is about the same as the Xinyuan Empire's astrolabe immortal sword. the spirit camel immortal cauldron, and the essence refining immortal pearl. But it's very special. It's a spatial Tao artifact, and seems to have offensive power. Master, this Tao artifact can't be underestimated. As long as its quality isn't too high and its attack isn't too powerful, it doesn't matter. Su Feng wasn't the ordinary mortal cultivator he used to be. Although this kind of Tao artifact came from the great world, it couldn't be fully activated in the hands of mortals. On the other hand, he had also seen the power of peerless Tao artifacts, such as the Yinshao Thunder Sword and the Xinjia Gate. Under Go Tianshua's control, the Tao artifact teapot spat out a waterfall. The immortal waterfall poured down, like white clouds shrouding the crown of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. After a period of time, after the immortal waterfall covered a large area, there was a suction force. The overbearing divine power wanted to suck the heavenly gourd spirit tree into the teapot Tao treasure. What extraordinary means! Looks like this expert from the Tianfang field, called Go Tianshua, came to the Zhuotian field specifically for the heavenly gourd spirit tree. He prepared so many terrifying means in succession. It's almost the power of an immortal to take the heavenly gourd spirit tree. At this moment, he finally realized how cunning Go Tianshua was and how hard it was to deal with him. The heavenly gourd spirit tree was finished. Buzz. He watched as the heavenly gourd spirit tree was about to be taken by Go Tianshua in an extremely short time. He didn't expect that his grand perfection ability would sense a sound wave from 100 miles away. He looked behind him, his eyes shining. This power can't be wrong. The Zhuotian field Lord won't just let the experts of other small worlds take the heavenly gourd spirit tree away. No matter how extraordinary Go Tianshua was, he didn't have the grand perfection ability or the ability to use the Zhuotian field's world power. Sensing the incoming attack of an expert, Su Feng first activated his defense and silently waited. A breath later, suddenly, 3 silhouettes appeared in the sky. The 3 figures descended from the sky and passed through the void. Because they came from the origin of the Zhuotian field, the speed of the 3 figures was almost the same as passing through a door. Oh! Go Tianshua raised his head, and his expression changed. He ordered the experts around him, "Block those experts." The experts looked at each other and summoned their Dharma treasures. Just as they rose into the air, their expressions changed dramatically. It was because the 3 figures that had arrived were 3 old men. However, these 3 old men were not breathing and were cold as ice. It turned out that they were 3 puppets. What did it mean for puppets to be this fast? The predecessors of these 3 great puppets must have all been experts who stood at the peak of the small world. Now that they were killed by experts and refined into puppets, for them to have such a degree in the Zhuotian realm, it also meant that the person behind them was definitely the current Zhuotian realm's realm master. You bastards took advantage of the chaos in the Zhuotian field. Not only did you target the Xinjia Gate, but you also stole the heavenly gourd spirit tree. I won't forgive you today. The 3 puppets opened their mouths and said the same thing. They also spat out 3 flying swords. The quality of each flying sword was even higher than the Rakshasa Jade Bottle and the Edgeless Sword. They were almost as good as the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. Those were the top Dharma treasures in the world. The puppets had 3 treasures. How many treasures did the Zhuotian field lord have? Clang! The experts and the 3 puppets immediately clashed in the air. The light from their Dharma treasures exploded, causing cracks and black holes to appear in the air from time to time. This is the best time to attack. Go Tianshua. Su Feng was the only tribulation cultivator left. He looked scared, but he was actually pretending to be a coward. His real goal was to stay and deal with Go Tianshua. Facing Go Tianshua alone, Su Feng almost used the Starry Daylight sword to attack Go Tianshua. But, most importantly, most of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's body was still in the earth's core. Even if he killed Go Tianshua, it wouldn't be easy for him to collect the heavenly gourd spirit tree by himself. Another reason was that Su Feng felt that although Go Tianshua's back was facing him and he was doing his best to collect the heavenly gourd spirit tree, he seemed to have a third eye that was watching everything around him. Even if Su Fong attacked, he wasn't absolutely confident that he would succeed. Even if he succeeded, he would have to collect the heavenly gourd spirit tree by himself. In the end, he had no choice but to give up and continue to hide, playing the role of a Tribulation Realm weakling. Tut tut tut. The Earth's abyss began to collapse because the heavenly gourd spirit tree kept peeling away from the Earth's core, causing the Earth to change. The Zhuotian field and even the other small worlds knew that this was a natural barrier that gave birth to countless treasures, but it was slowly turning into ruins. Poof! The sound of something breaking suddenly rang out from above. Su Fong raised his head and saw an expert being cut in half by a puppet. They had only fought for a short while, but the puppet had already killed one of Go Tianshua's peerless experts. The other experts were also constantly suppressed. The puppets were not simple. They were powerful and were secretly controlled by the current Realm Lord. Just how powerful were they? If things continue like this, those experts will be killed by the puppets in less than half an incense stick's worth of time. Then Go Tianshua won't be able to collect the heavenly gourd spirit tree in half an incense stick's worth of time. Go Tianshua is in big trouble. Su Fong watched all of this from the shadows. He pretended to tremble, but he actually sneered. He loved it when both sides were heavily injured and killed each other. What should he do? He was wondering whether Go Tianshua would have no choice but to flee or fight the three puppets in the face of the imminent threat. Su Fong guessed that Go Tianshua only had two choices. One was to flee, and the other was to fight the three puppets. However, he still had a third choice. Go Tianshua slowed down and sent out a rune talisman. He looked at the rune talisman and released his will. Realm Lord Master, disciple has encountered some trouble here. The current Realm Lord Zhuotian has sent three puppets over. From the looks of their treasures and auras, these three puppets are secretly controlled by the current Realm Lord Zhuotian. Chapter 754. Go Tianshua has asked for help from the Realm Lord of the Eternal Heaven Domain. This indeed caused Su Fong to be greatly shocked and surprised. He was surprised because he thought that Go Tianshua should know that Zhuotian Domain would not let him get the spirit tree so easily when he released the puppets. Most likely, he would run away. But he did not expect that Go Tianshua, no, the Realm Lord of the Eternal Heaven Domain, would insist on getting the heavenly gourd spirit tree. At the other end of the rune talisman, there was also a thought. Although it was very subtle, Su Fong heard it clearly with his great fulfillment ability. Realm Lord Zhuotian has released the puppet Tianshua. Don't worry, I'll immediately add magic power to you. Release the puppets in your body. I'll use the God Descent technique. It seemed that this was the mysterious Realm Lord of the Eternal Heaven Domain. It also meant that the Realm Lord of the Eternal Heaven Domain was hiding somewhere in the Zhuotian Domain. Even Zhuotian Domain could not sense it. Go Tianshua activated the rune to the extreme and grabbed 5 figures from his body. They were all slaves that he had suppressed. These slaves were either at the first disaster realm or at the second disaster realm. They trembled as they looked at Go Tianshua, unable to understand what was going on. Their minds were exploding and their primordial spirits were about to shatter. Just like that, the 5 slaves had their yang souls destroyed and their primordial spirits erased, turning them into the living dead. Then, a surge of magic power came from the rune and turned into 5 Xianguang with astonishing world power, entering the bodies of the 5 slaves. Go Tianshua put away the rune and looked at the 5 people. Master, from the slaves, the illusory Realm Lord of the Eternal Heaven Domain said, "Don't worry, Realm Lord Zhuotian will not personally come to the heavenly gourd boundary. He and his experts and main forces are all gathered around the world barrier in the Xinjia Gate. Although the heavenly gourd spirit tree is a supreme treasure, it is not as important as the Xinjia Gate or the world barrier." Master, do you have confidence in obtaining the Xinjia Gate? When I released the puppets and entered the Xinjia Gate several times, I met many experts from other small worlds. They are now searching for the secrets inside and have not made any progress. Isn't there a cultivator called Su Fong who entered the Xinjia Gate twice? There is such a person. I've already captured many cultivator souls, and to confirm this. Unfortunately, That cultivator called Su has already disappeared, and many experts are searching for him. They have also heard that some people have already made people's forces went world. Some forces went there, had went forces went there, and some experts factions as forces went forces spirit went sent s realm experts is went and some mortal experts had sense. Aren't there immortals? If they work together with Master, they can directly take away the Shinja Gate. This is my last resort. I will only use it when I have no other choice. Right now, I am still waiting. Maybe someone will capture Su Fong. Once he arrives at the Shinja Gate, I will kill him halfway. If I really can't seize the Shinja Gate through the fusion, I still have other methods. Maybe I will kill World Overlord Zhuotian and seize the Zhuotian realm. As long as I have the Zhuotian realm, the Shinja Gate will be mine. Master is wise. It's a pity that Realm Lord Zhuotian didn't show up directly. He doesn't dare to show up casually. Hidden Immortals and other Realm Lords factions will definitely kill him the moment he shows up and take a Zhuotian realm. Tianxua, Master will hold back those 3 puppets. Go get the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree as soon as possible. Yes. Why is there a Tribulation cultivator behind you? This is a wood-type cultivator. Fortunately, this person absorbed a lot of Spirit Tree essence to speed up the gathering of the Spirit Tree. You know how to deal with this kind of weakling later. Master, don't worry. Disciple will kill him once I get the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. Whoosh! After the 5 slaves secretly communicated with Go Tianxua, they immediately flew into the sky. Su Fong heard all of this clearly. His skin was emitting cold air, wave after wave, layer after layer. I already expected you to have such thoughts, but I still have to make a move on you. Su Fong was abnormally calm, because Go Tianxua would kill him in the end. As a result, he had no choice but to make a move on Go Tianxua. Since he knew what he had to do, the only thing he had to do was wait for an opportunity to kill Go Tianxua. The 5 slaves immediately cooperated with the other experts. The Eternal Sky Realm Lord was actually quite calm. He didn't insist on killing the 3 puppets, but on keeping them busy and buying time for Go Tianxua. There are still people who think I'm in the Immortal Sealing Sect. The Immortal Sealing Sect is about to be implicated. If there really is a power that attacks the Immortal Sealing Sect, then the Immortal Sealing Sect will be in big trouble. No, I have to hurry over and kill Changsheng to get the Violet Qi Law Spirit. Otherwise, once he's killed, the Violet Qi Law Spirit might end up in someone else's hands. Su Fong had been grinning just a second ago, but now his expression froze. The Violet Qi Law Spirit, the life and death of the Immortal Sealing Sect, had nothing to do with him. He had long since shed all pretenses with the Immortal Sealing Sect. The only thing he wanted was the Violet Qi Law Spirit. Without the Violet Qi Law Spirit, he wouldn't pay attention to the Immortal Sealing Sect's movements. The Spirit Mist World. I've caused quite a bit of trouble for the Spirit Mist World, but you Ying still protected me and the Heaven Crossing Sect. That's not just because I can refine the aphrodisiac pill, right? The 6 Lords of Abundant Lush are truly worthy of being friends with. I owe them a favor. After receiving so much shocking news, it was clear that the Zhuotian world had long since been stirred up by a storm of blood. Who knew how many powers would be destroyed in this storm? Tut, tut, tut. The collapse of the Heaven Gourd World's abyss was even more shocking. Wave after wave. And as the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree left the Earth's core, many bottomless cracks appeared in the ground. The Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree was still being forcefully lifted several hundred meters. Most likely, Go Tianxua would be able to use a Dao item and Immortal's power to pull the Heaven Gourd Spirit Tree out of the continent in a month. Up above, other than the 5 slaves, the other experts had already been killed by the puppets. The 5 slaves had been strengthened by the god Descent Art, and they were the Eternal Sky Realm's experts. Their opponents were the 3 puppets controlled by the Zhuotian Realm Lord. This was equivalent to 2 Realm Lords fighting. From time to time, the sky would change color and black holes would appear in the horizon. The black holes would constantly suck in the power of the sky. This was even more shocking than the battle between Su Fong and the piercing sky demon Venerable. Even the piercing sky demon Venerable was not a match for the three puppets. Su Fong was also a match for them. If a realm lord were to personally fight, it would not be a black hole. Instead, a black hole would appear in a large area of space. A large black hole could only be formed by a peerless expert like a realm lord using their destructive power or shockwaves. If a large black hole appeared above the immortal ceiling gate, it would form a twisting and strangling force that would kill the entire immortal ceiling gate and suck it into the black hole. While the battle above was raging, below, Go Tianxua continued to absorb the heaven-gourd spirit tree. The teapot Dao item suction power was combined with the immortal's chains. Under the absorption of the two great powers, the heaven-gourd spirit tree was almost 3,000 meters long and was forcefully pulled out of the heaven-gourd world. Soon, Su Fong was still waiting. He was like a weak chicken that could not do anything. Even preserving his life was difficult. I can't attack Go Tianxua here. If I don't succeed, I won't be a match for any of the 5 slaves above. At this moment, as the heaven-gourd spirit tree was continuously pulled out, Su Fong started to feel anxious. Seeing the treasure they want to get taken away, just like that, anyone would have their own thoughts. However, he had to continue waiting. He had to be careful and cautious. The tree roots are coming out. He was like an ant on a hot pan every day. He could only run around in panic. As the ground shook, the heaven-gourd spirit tree shone brightly. It turned out that the tree roots were being pulled out of the ground. After Go Tianxua took a deep breath, the teapot Dao item released even more power. Small universe immortal pot, support with immortal power. He used even more immortal power. It seemed that a certain immortal had planted an unimaginable great world's power in his body so that he could absorb the heaven-gourd spirit tree. The immortal's chains wrapped around the heaven-gourd spirit tree, increasing its speed by 10 times. Tut tut tut. The tree roots carried countless crystalline, thick roots of different shapes, as well as some origin vitality stones and origin soul essences of Zhuotian realm, peeling off from the ground. Origin stones and soul essences gems appeared one after another. They were wrapped in a large number of roots, and some roots had already completely merged with the gems. It was unbelievable. Even in the core space, Su Fong had never seen origin gems and spiritual roots fused to such an extent. The 30,000-foot tall spirit tree was already floating above the heaven-gourd spirit world. The nest-like roots below were still being pulled out of the core. A peerless treasure. Go Tianxua also sighed. Then he looked up into the sky. Unfortunately, this treasure belongs to Master. If I make a great contribution this time and Master ascends, I'll be able to stand out from the other senior brothers and obtain the spirit tree. I'll be able to obtain Master's inheritance from the World Lord and become the Supreme World Lord. World Lord, Su Fong laughed inwardly. Keep dreaming. Even if the eternal heaven domain makes you the World Lord, you'll have to return alive. Do you think this treasure is yours? Only now did he clearly see how extraordinary the heaven-gourd spirit tree was. When Su Fong heard Go Tianxua's greedy voice, he sneered and sighed. Swish! In the next second, he suddenly heard the sound of wind. As the spirit tree continued to pull out of the heaven-gourd spirit tree, it suddenly shot through the air. He hurriedly activated his great perfection vision and saw dozens of sharp roots in the center of the spirit tree's roots. They actually shot toward Go Tianxua at the speed of teleportation as the dust trembled. Now, when Su Fong saw this, he naturally pretended he didn't know anything. At this moment, he felt like he had a talent for playing dumb. Go Tianxua had probably lost his previous caution because he was about to pull out the spirit tree and had the eternal heaven domain's world lord protecting him. He suddenly felt a sense of danger. When his long hair moved, he widened his eyes and saw dozens of roots covering him. He immediately released a defensive barrier, but those sharp spirit roots continued to shatter it. However, Go Tianxua had pulled out his immortal energy in time to form a defensive barrier. This made it so he couldn't fully concentrate on collecting the heaven-gourd spirit tree. His strength was also affected, and his true chi was already severely depleted. Poof! Poof! There were still some sharp roots that pierced Go Tianshua's thigh and left arm, causing him to cry out in pain. Heaven-worshipping palm art. Su Fong actually charged forward. He used two huge palms to stare at the two spirit roots that had pierced Go Tianshua's body. When Go Tianshua saw this, he leaned to the side and let out a sigh of relief. Pa! The two huge palms slammed into the spirit roots, causing them to lose most of their luster. However, the palms also shattered at the same time, and Su Fong was sent flying, coughing up blood. Now that I'm heavily injured, you'll definitely lower your guard against me. As long as you ignore me even a little bit, you'll die when I attack you. Su Fong lost his balance and squatted down miserably in a bloody mist. Although he looked powerless to attack, he wasn't injured at all. Boom! Because Su Fong had blocked the spirit root's power in time, Go Tianshua endured the pain and spat out two bursts of aura to break the spirit root's power. Chapter 755. The heavenly gourd spirit tree attacked Go Tianshua on its own. Su Fong struggled to stand up after seeing Go Tianshua break the two roots. He was very surprised. So, the heavenly gourd spirit tree has an advantage and also has offensive power. Go Tianshua had already released his celestial force to form a defense, but he still couldn't stop the two spirit roots. This means that the spirit tree's attack is also as strong as the realm lord's. Go Tianshua had almost been killed by the heavenly gourd spirit tree, but he had been prepared. His defensive awareness was too strong, so he always protected his body. If it weren't for that, he would have been killed by the spirit tree's roots. Su Fong saw that the heavenly gourd spirit tree was a sentient spirit tree. Kid! Suddenly, the undying turtle's lazy voice came from the Tao artifact. The heavenly gourd spirit tree is the same as me. It's too big and can't take on human form, so it can't cultivate. Really? It was unexpected to talk to the undying turtle. This old guy's eyesight was quite extraordinary. If the spirit tree cultivated by itself, it would be similar to those big goblin and take on a human form in tens of thousands of years. Unfortunately, when it was planted in the heavenly gourd realm, a part of its power was sealed by the realm lord, so it merged with the ground. It's like its original body is shackled by the ground, so it can't cultivate its body. The undying turtle said slowly, if the realm lord hadn't planted it here and shackled its original body, the heavenly gourd spirit tree would have become a monster and ascended to the great world. I see. Looks like the heavenly gourd spirit tree's own will doesn't want to be suppressed here. Su Fong floated behind with blood on his body, thinking about how to suppress the heavenly gourd spirit tree in the future. In front, Go Tianshua released his deity power and survived the spirit tree's sneak attack. Even he was frightened. However, it also infuriated him. He used more deity chi on the Tao artifact and the deity light chains to pull the heavenly gourd spirit tree out of the ground faster. The nest-like tree roots held out a large amount of origin source stones and soul essence gems. The roots fused with the origin source gems. This was why the heavenly gourd spirit tree had an unimaginable amount of origin source gems. Rise. Another few days passed in the blink of an eye. During this period of time, the heavenly gourd spirit tree no longer attacked. It was probably shackled by the Tao artifact and the chains of immortal radiance. It watched on helplessly as the abyss of the earth realm collapsed one last time. It was like a great mountain that was completely separated from the heavenly gourd earth realm. At this moment, the heavenly gourd domain had completely lost the heavenly gourd spirit tree. The entire continent trembled, the ground cracked, and the river flowed in reverse. 2/3 of the continent's surface was instantly covered by the river. The loss of the heavenly gourd spirit tree had actually caused an entire continent to change. Although the heavenly gourd domain could not be compared to the crimson firmament continent, it was hard to believe that such a large continent would undergo a geological change due to the loss of a spiritual item. The heavenly gourd spirit tree still ended up in the hands of Go Tianshua, the realm master of the eternal heaven domain. Su Fong sighed in his heart as he witnessed the great changes in the continent he was once familiar with. The heavenly gourd spirit tree soared into the sky. Suddenly, he felt a sense of insignificance and powerlessness. Even after reaching his current level of cultivation and strength, he still felt powerless. There was no end to cultivation. Only by continuing to pursue new heights would he be able to continue. He could truly stand in this world. A thought was transmitted to Go Tianxua from midair. Immediately absorb the heavenly gourd spirit tree into the small universe immortal gourd. Then find a secret place to recover from your injuries. I'll send some experts to meet up with you. As for the puppet from Realm Lord Zhuotian, I can't kill him, and he can't do anything to me. I'll buy you more time so that you can completely get rid of him. It was from the 5 slaves. Thank you, Master. He controlled the heavenly gourd spirit tree from midair. Go Tianxua replied and used all his strength to activate the Teapot Dao artifact, the small universe immortal gourd. This Dao artifact and the chains of immortal radiance resonated with each other. Then, the chains forcefully merged with the Dao artifact and slowly pulled the heavenly gourd spirit tree into the Dao artifact. It was so difficult for a Dao artifact to absorb a spiritual item from the mortal world. This showed how extraordinary the heavenly gourd spirit tree was. The spiritual tree's body was countless times bigger than the undying turtle. If one did not have a large spatial Dao artifact, they would not be able to absorb such a spiritual tree. The small universe immortal gourd was such a large spatial Dao artifact. Su Fong slowly approached Go Tianxua. The smaller the small universe immortal gourd you are, the more I want this Dao artifact. I have to get it because the heavenly gourd spirit tree is inside. Yu'er said, as long as this Go Tianxua doesn't use his immortal power or a Dao artifact to defend himself, Yu'er has absolute confidence in working together with Master to kill him. Now is not the best time. I just heard that he wants to find a secret place to recover. That'll be the best time for me. He almost came to Go Tianxua's side. He watched as most of the heavenly gourd spirit tree's body was swallowed by the teapot. The last of its roots and a large number of origin gems were also sucked in. Buzz! In the end, the entire spiritual tree disappeared into the mouth of the small universe immortal gourd. The heavenly gourd spirit tree was taken away by someone. Master, I'll leave first. Go Tianxua transmitted a thought and released his control power, pulling Su Fong into the deep space. He used his teleportation speed and left the heavenly gourd's world in a flash. What a fast speed! He continued to travel, and a large amount of water receded. After 2 breaths, he had passed by a large number of small islands. Deep ahead is the Starfish Sky Island of the 4 great continents. After 5 breaths, Su Fong stared straight ahead. That was the Starfish Sky Island that he had gone to on a mission. There were many factions on the Starfish Sky Island, such as the Carefree Sect, the 10,000 Treasures Path, the Hunter Medicine Sect, and especially the 10,000 Treasures Path. Back then, he had almost died and offended the 10,000 Treasures Path before he could return to the Crimson Firmament continent with great difficulty. Go Tianxua probably also knew that the Starfish Sky Island was ahead. He suddenly flew to the left. There were many small continents deep in the water. After a few more breaths, he landed on one of the nameless islands. After arriving on the island and releasing his control power, Go Tianxua quickly gained complete control of the island. He then killed a few slaves in front of Su Fong and refined them into puppets, making them guard the barrier. After doing all this, more than 20 experts at the 2nd Dao Calamity level rushed over to meet up with Go Tianxua. Su Fong was cultivating in an internal formation that Go Tianxua had sealed. Go Tianxua had given him a lot of resources, but he hadn't returned the Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd. He had thought that the formation would be able to trap Su Fong, but Su Fong's perfection ability spread in all directions. Soon, you heard people talking. We're currently plundering the resources of several second-rate powers on the Starfish Sky Island. We originally wanted to deal with the Myriad Treasure Path, but they also have experts. The Myriad Treasure Path does indeed have many Dharma treasures. They specialize in forging, and they have countless resources. They have a leader at the 3rd Dao Calamity level, as well as many old-timers. Their strength is similar to ours. The Supreme Realm Master told us to wait for you to recover before leading us to plunder the myriad treasure path's resources. With Elder Go here, we'll definitely reap a great harvest on this trip to the Zhuotian realm. So those experts were all flattering Go Tianxia. So quite a few experts from the Eternal Heaven realm came to plunder resources from all directions. They even want to attack the myriad treasure path. If Go Tianxia participates, the myriad treasure path will be doomed. Su Fang's heart tightened. It seemed that the myriad treasure path that Chao Chu was from would not be able to escape calamity in the near future. Go Tianxia might attack me at any moment. I'll have to act like I'm seriously injured. He withdrew most of his senses and began to prepare in secret. Coming to this nameless island to recuperate was the best opportunity for Su Fang to attack. So what if there were experts? As long as they weren't experts like the Realm Master or Master Heiyun, Su Fang didn't have to worry about those two Dao calamity-level powerhouses in the Zhuotian realm. 3 months later, Go Tianxia had someone summon Su Fang and bring him to the central formation. When he entered alone, he saw Go Tianxia cultivating in the air. There were some Dao items and immortal light around him. This person really didn't lack resources. He had immortal qi helping him cultivate at all times. It seemed that his true qi and physical injuries were quickly recovering. The central formation was like his divine image. Once it exploded, it could instantly trap anyone in this space. Adding on the fact that he had a Dao item and immortal light protecting him, Go Tianxia didn't feel the slightest sense of danger here. Go Tianxia directly ordered, use your wood-type divine power to activate your spirit gourd and release the essence inside. Once you're done, I'll give you an extraordinary Dharma treasure. With that, the flaming cloud spirit gourd appeared between him and Su Fang. Su Fang obediently activated the flaming cloud spirit gourd. The essence of the spirit tree poured out like a flood. At this moment, Go Tianxia took out another talisman. It was the one that sealed the flaming cloud spirit tree. It was the ancient talisman that had been hidden in the origin stone. In front of Su Fang, he used his blood to refine the talisman, and then used the talisman to absorb the astonishing essence from the gourd. He was secretly fusing with the power of the spirit tree and absorbing the Zhuotian realm's origin. Not only did he use it to heal his injuries, but he also wanted to fuse with the Zhuotian realm's origin. While this person is refining the talisman, this is my best opportunity. Although I have a Dao item protecting me, but Su Fang gradually grabbed the back of the flaming cloud spirit gourd with both hands and secretly sensed it. He felt that this was the best opportunity. Once Go Tianxia recovered, it would be the time of his death. Using his palm and the advantage of fusing with the flaming cloud spirit gourd, he cleverly sent a white blade light into it. Ethereal true record, combining the real and the illusory. All things respect me. Then he activated the path of the real and the void and poured his wood-type aura into Go Tianxia's surroundings through his palm and the essence from the spirit gourd. Gradually, under the control of the path of the real and the void, the surging spirit, tree spirit qi around Go Tianxia merged with Su Fang. World divine power, divine image. Not long after, he released the Zhuotian realm's origin. The world divine power supported the divine image and merged with the path of the real and the void. The divine image used an unbelievable ability to perfectly merge with the spirit gourd's spirit qi under the control of the path of the real and the void. Go Tianxia was greedily absorbing the spirit qi and immortal power to refine the ancient Zhuotian realm talisman. Everything was in a world of cold qi. Su Fang suddenly circulated his qi again. The Dao item's divine power suddenly strengthened him, and he also instantly used the divine image. Buzz! The majestic essence of the heavenly gourd spirit tree floating around Go Tianxia suddenly froze, and the space around them became still. Then it pressed down on Go Tianxia in the blink of an eye. Boom! The divine image space instantly exploded with a shocking pressure. Su Fang used the Dao item to punch down with a sacred venerate's fist. The entire array shook as the Tao item fist seal crushed some of the immortal aura inside. Rustle, rustle. Two figures suddenly appeared behind Su Fong. You're just a catastrophe, Relmat. How dare you sneak attack me? Even with such a perfect sneak attack, Go Tianxua still couldn't be killed. The dazzling divine might of the Tao artifact exploded from within him, shaking a wave of immortal aura that formed a shockwave in all directions, scattering all the explosions. Su Fong was also overturned, leaving the flaming cloud spirit gourd floating in the air. The surrounding array was also shattered and completely collapsed. Chapter 756. You want to kill me with just this? At the center of the shockwave, Go Tianxua, who was covered in blood, released a shocking aura from his head. It seemed that even if he didn't die, he had been severely injured by Su Fong. With him as the center, the array formation and materials were all turned into ruins. The shockwave also shattered the array formation outside, and the experts under his command were also affected by the array formation. The shockwave was too terrifying. Not only was it a Tao artifact, but it also contained immortal power. So, this was the power of an immortal. The shockwave continued to spread in all directions, and everywhere it went was filled with destructive power. Kill! Su Fong kept boiling in the turbulence. He was affected by the aura and was probably severely injured. Go Tianxua didn't care about the lives of so many experts under his command. He only stared at the churning Su Fong and suddenly grabbed a Xianguang and swept it toward Su Fong. But Su Fong, who seemed to have been blown away by the shockwave and was severely injured, did not have any power to attack. However, his peak stage power was very powerful. He suddenly sent a thought to himself. Attack! Equatorial wind, fire wheels. Thorn of the earth. Two waves of demonic chi exploded from the ground below. Thump! Rocks flew everywhere, and a flaming will suddenly hit Go Tianxua's defense from below. Then, those rocks suddenly turned into stone thorns that were more than 10 feet long and pierced through Go Tianxua's defense under the attack of the equatorial wind fire wheels. It stabbed Go Tianxua's body, but was blocked by a layer of immortal power. Whoosh! A dark golden rock suddenly rolled up from the ground below. All of these attacks, sneak attacks, happened in the blink of an eye. As a peerless expert, Go Tianxua could only defend and not fight back. He didn't even know why the big goblin had appeared and attacked him. The dark golden rock was like a belt that wrapped around Go Tianxua. It was like a stone demon snake that coiled around Go Tianxua in the air and pressed down on him, causing him to cough up blood. Another wave of demonic chi suddenly spat out venom from the Wooling Goblin's back. It turned out that the sky-piercing demon Venerable and Wooling Goblin were ambushing Go Tianxua. The sky-reaching monster Venerate's poison splashed on a Go Tianxua, who was already unable to move and whose body was showing signs of tearing. Go Tianxua was like a drowned rat, but he was covered in poison. His skin was rotting, and he looked like a rotten corpse. He ferociously activated his celestial light. Mini-universe celestial pot. Starlight sword. In the distance, Su Fong, who was in the middle of the shockwave, lost his balance, but he managed to put his palms together in time. The flaming cloud spirit gourd floated behind Go Tianxua. As soon as Go Tianxua took out the small heaven and earth immortal kettle and spouted shocking light from its mouth, the flaming cloud spirit gourd was one step faster. Go Tianxua smiled savagely and said furiously, "All of you will die." Pooh! However, before he could close his mouth, a black sword chi pierced through his forehead. Before this, there was nothing in front of his forehead. But at this moment, the black sword chi pierced through his forehead. Then, he raised his head, opened his mouth, and swung his long hair. The black sword chi pierced through his forehead. Chi! The sky-reaching Venerate also teleported to the side at this moment and spat out a demonic blade. It ruthlessly cut off Go Tianxua's right arm that he was using to take out the small heaven and earth immortal kettle. Without the support of his right arm, the small heaven and earth immortal kettle in his right hand started to sizzle with terrifying celestial chi. It seemed that the small heaven and earth immortal kettle wasn't just a Tao item with a large space inside. It was also a Tao item with offensive power. That was close. The sky-reaching venerate flashed and grabbed his right arm. Looking at the celestial chi that was about to explode, even the peerless big goblin showed a terrified expression. Buzz! The black stone belt also turned into Woolen Goblin. Grabbing Go Tianshua's corpse, he looked at the sky-reaching venerate. If he didn't have a Tao item and celestial chi protecting his body, I would have already crushed him into a meat patty when I entangled him just now. The sky-reaching venerate was covered in cold sweat. This kind of human expert has a Tao item. Not only does he have a Tao item, but he can also use celestial chi to activate it. He's already at the level of a realm lord. Neither of us is his match. Su Fong, who was covered in blood, activated his world divine might and flashed next to the two of them. He then released the Vermilion Emperor, the 9-section Earth Dragon, the 9-headed Demon King, the Brute Force Demon King, and Exalted Yuezhan. There are more than 20 experts outside. They're currently under the attack of the shockwave and can't react in time. They're all heavily injured. Go and suppress them. Don't let anyone escape. Yes. The big goblin and Exalted Yuezhan bowed together and scattered in all directions. Whoosh! At this moment, a thought suddenly flew from Go Tianshua's head to the sky with the speed of a meteor and under the protection of the celestial light. Oh no! Looking at the celestial light, Su Fong could only see a shadow. He didn't chase after it in time. It's impossible to catch up with it. With the celestial light protecting it, it's even more impossible to destroy it. Soon, the realm lord of the eternal heaven domain and the celestials will know that I killed Go Tianshua. Chasing after was already unrealistic. Helpless, Su Fong immediately sucked Go Tianshua's corpse in his palm, then his right arm and the small heaven and earth immortal kettle into the light of the Tao item. The starlight sword and flaming cloud spirit gourd also returned to his body. Then, he looked at the floating spirit light in the ruins below. He grabbed the air, and a rune talisman appeared in his palm. It was the rune talisman sealed in the origin stone deep inside the heavenly gourd spirit tree. Luckily, only 1/5 of it was destroyed by Go Tianshua. I can still fuse with it. He stroked the rune talisman. This was a true treasure. With it, it was equivalent to having some of the true essence of the Jua Tian domain's world power. He could use this essence to cultivate and fuse with the Jua Tian domain. This meant that he would have more treasures when he obtained the Jua Tian domain in the future. Even sorcerer Heiyun couldn't have this kind of essence. Only a realm lord was qualified to have it. Only a realm lord could control the essence of a world. It was already good enough for others to be able to control the world power. You still want to run? There were no more treasures around. His senses suddenly sensed something. He activated the instant space ring and the Zhuotian domain's world power. His entire body went through teleportation, forming a pulling line as he shuttled through space. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the periphery of the ruined island. Just as he arrived in the air, a wretched and heavily injured expert stepped on a flying sword and actually used instant space to escape. Before he could see clearly or understand, the surrounding space suddenly shook, and a shockwave swept up, causing him to continuously vomit blood and be heavily injured again. I won't let any of you escape. 2 Heavenly Calamity Realm experts. I'll treat you as treasures and won't kill you. Su Fong once again appeared when the expert lost his balance and was sent flying. The expert didn't even have the chance to blink before he was grabbed by Su Fong's 5 fingers and sucked into Su Fong's palm. If this expert hadn't been heavily injured by the shockwave released by the ruthless Go Tianshua, he wouldn't have been so easily suppressed by Su Fong. It was all Go Tianshua's fault for being so ruthless. About a dozen breaths later, Master, Exalted Cultivator Yuezhan, and the big goblin grabbed the heavily injured experts and came to Su Fong's surroundings. Su Fong activated the power of the Tao artifact and sucked these people into space one by one. He also sucked the big goblin into the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. Then he used the instant space ring to fly into the sky alone. In less than 3 breaths, he arrived at the barrier of the Joatian realm and used the Joatian realm's origin to fuse with the barrier, quietly leaving the Joatian realm. Buzz! The auras of the 2 wills had actually followed him here. Hearing the sound, they couldn't escape his perfected ability. He turned around and wanted to kill them directly to save himself the trouble. However, he directly caught the 2 auras. One aura was very illusory, while the other aura was mainly immortal light. It wasn't the power of a small world. Grabbing these 2 auras, Su Fong hid his aura and madly flew into the Star River. His target was planet Chilean, which wasn't far from the Joatian realm. After flying for about a year, he finally entered planet Chilean. Stepping into planet Chilean, he let out a sigh of relief and turned around to release his senses. He waited for half a day in the starry sky, but didn't see any abnormal movements. Only then did he arrive at the mountain range deep underground. A barrier appeared in the depths of the mountain range. Exalted cultivator Yuezhan, Yu and the 9-segment Earth Dragon watched the surroundings. He released 2 shadows and entered the barrier. He sat down cross-legged and released the power of the world around him, causing the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to madly rush into the barrier. Looking at his torn body, he couldn't help but think of the shock wave. 3 calamity-flying, celestial realm powerhouses are really powerful. I now understand why the Lord of 5 Poisons could fight against the Xinyuan Empire and the Doichi. I'm afraid the Lord of 5 Poisons is even stronger than Go Tianxia. He felt the huge gap between him and the flying celestial realm powerhouses. It wasn't just a gap of the wing transformation realm. It will probably take me 2 years to recover from my injuries, and then a few more years to break through to the wing transformation realm. His breathing gradually returned to normal as he devoured celestial fruits and celestial blood essences. His body started to recover, and he grabbed a ray of celestial light, which contained Go Tianxua's corpse. In order to not be chased by immortals, he had to use the Tao artifact's power to shackle the corpse. After looking at the corpse, he released a seal into the celestial light of the Tao artifact. There were 2 wills inside. Su Fong activated the first one, which contained the aura of a small world. He was somewhat familiar with it. It was the furious roar of the eternal heaven realm's realm lord. You little brat, no matter who you are, you killed my disciple. You don't want to live anymore. Hand over the celestial gourd spirit tree, and I'll take you in as my disciple. In the future, I'll even pass on the position of eternal heaven realm's realm lord to you. The realm lord is so flustered and exasperated. However, it's strange that you're so angry after losing your treasure and killing your disciple. He grinned indifferently and activated the second one, which contained celestial light. A voice with the aura of a large world rang out. I'm Luo Yinghao, an immortal who descended from a large world. That small universe immortal pod is my item. You better return it. Otherwise, if I'm angry, you won't be able to survive in a small world or a large world. Immortal Luo Yinghao, I think this name is very mighty. Do you think I'm afraid? Maybe I'll trample you under my feet in the future and make you worse than a pig or a dog. Su Fong disdainfully shouted coldly. He suddenly burst out with his aura, wanting to crush the 2 wills. However, he suddenly stopped, and his eyes lit up. Why do I have to crush them? In the future, these 2 people won't let me go. Since they're in the Joatian realm, why don't I seal their auras? It'll be easier to sense them in the Joatian realm. It'll be easier to avoid the 2 experts and deal with them. Then, he sealed the 2 wills' auras and absorbed them into the Tao artifact. Even if the 2 experts had peerless abilities, they wouldn't be able to sense their auras hidden inside the Tao artifact. Eternal Heaven Realm Lord. Immortal Luo Yinghao from the Upper Realm. This is great. A while ago, I offended 7-Star Child and Immortal Huang Yuran from the Green Lotus Sword sect. In the future, Big Brother Heart Elephant will also descend to the lower realm. I have no choice but to offend so many immortals. He shook his head bitterly. There were a lot of troublesome matters. However, he still had a lot of things to do. He didn't want to think about these things for the time being. Chapter 757. There were two experts secretly protecting the mountain range barrier, so Su Fong could cultivate without worry. After sealing the wills of the two experts, he carefully examined Go Tianshua's corpse. This was a powerhouse with 3 Calamity Daos who had reached the Ascension Immortal Realm. He had survived 2 Calamity Daos, and he was one more away from ascending to a great world. What a pity! He had come all the way to the Zhuotian realm to steal resources, but he had never thought that the Zhuotian realm would become his burial ground. He first sensed the origin energy of the eternal heaven realm from Go Tianshua's corpse. Then there was a shocking amount of true qi in his dantian and meridians, as well as a large amount of condensed immortal spiritual body. This person's flesh contained a shocking amount of immortal spiritual aura. It was unbelievable that he had cultivated such shocking power and condensed an immortal spiritual body. He definitely had a 90% chance of surviving 3 Calamity Daos and becoming a supreme immortal. He took out the bag and looked inside. After removing the restrictions, he saw that there were many treasures inside. There were all kinds of treasures, secret manuals, spiritual items, and gems. There were too many to count, and many of the treasures were of shocking quality. There were tens of thousands of them. He could use this empty bag to establish a large faction. It's a pity that this expert has immortal spiritual power and a Tao artifact protecting him. I can't easily suppress him. Otherwise, it would be a pity to kill him. After searching for a while, he found 2 more treasures. One was a talisman with the power of a great world, and the other was a treasure that Go Tianshua wanted to cultivate. He was only a third away from being able to cultivate a life treasure. This immortal spiritual power talisman is Luo Inghao's power, right? Looking at the talisman, immortal spiritual runes intertwined. Back when he had killed the 3rd Crown Prince, the edgeless extermination sword had been a great world talisman. Undying Turtle, I brought you something good. His will came to the divine image jade wall space. The undying turtle's big goblin body was unshakable. It stuck its head out and asked something good. Give me more yang qi or immortal spiritual power. You guessed it. The expert we just killed had a great world talisman in his body. It was full of immortal spiritual power, and it was quite abundant. That expert's corpse is mine, and this talisman is yours. I'll always think of you when I get benefits. Su Fongda struck the general rune talisman at the immortal tortoise. You promised me that you would help me become an immortal. It wasn't polite at all. A mouthful of demonic qi swept out, sucking the symbol into its body. Once it fused with the immortal power of this rune, its body would definitely have a lot more immortal spiritual energy. It would then condense an immortal spiritual body and be able to use the immortal spiritual energy to strengthen its physical body. Once his will returned, he immediately unleashed the illusory fire cloud to burn Go Tianshua's corpse and purify the impurities. Then, he looked at the small heaven and earth immortal pot. It was really a good Tao artifact. Most importantly, it had the heavenly gourd spirit tree inside. It will probably take some time for me to recover from my injuries and break through to the feather transformation realm. During this time, I will take over Go Tianshua's body and refine the small universe immortal gourd. This Tao artifact is extremely extraordinary, especially its enormous space. With the divine image jade annulus, I can place the undying tortoise inside. Otherwise, it will always occupy the divine image jade annulus. He continued to purify the corpse and prepared to refine the small universe immortal gourd. He guessed that there should be many treasures in the small heaven and earth immortal pot. He only found out after refining it. Zhuotian realm, Tian gourd realm. In the past, a large part of the continent was submerged in water and separated into islands. At this time, there was no one in the surrounding sky. The world was also silent. Suddenly, a space turned into a passage, and a dozen cultivators appeared from within. Such speed and control of space was similar to passing through the door of wonder. First was Master Heiyun. He led a group of experts. After coming out, he turned around and respectfully welcomed them. The other experts also bowed. A middle-aged man in yellow clothes flew over. He didn't have any aura, but he could easily control the space of the Zhuotian realm. Middle Hall Master. Everyone shouted. The yellow-clothed man had thunderous eyebrows and starry eyes. Invisible vertical lines appeared on his temples. He glanced below indifferently. The experts of the eternal heaven realm hid long ago. There's no need to look for them. Master Heiyun said angrily, You could take away the spirit tree planted by the first realm lord. Master, didn't you plan to refine it into a clone? So many pairs of eyes are staring at the Xinjia Gate. Master can't fight with the realm lord and immortals for a spirit item. The yellow-clothed man pondered for a moment and ordered, Tell all the experts not to make a move against those outside forces. Master has to think of a way to deal with these arrogant immortals. Master is not worried about one immortal, but this time there are so many immortals. They can destroy my Zhuotian realm. Just as he finished speaking, a burst of sparks appeared around the yellow-clothed man. Master, someone is attacking the world barrier. Master Heiyun was shocked. Come with Master to take a look. Leaving the surrounding experts behind, the yellow-clothed man and Master Heiyun stepped into the void. In the blink of an eye, the two arrived at the bottom of the Zhuotian realm's barrier. Outside the barrier, there were more than 10,000 people floating. A terrifying immortal light was creating a crack in the barrier. Master Heiyun was shocked. Another immortal has come, and he's so brazen. The yellow-clothed man flashed to the crack in the barrier and blocked the experts entering the Zhuotian realm. The one who led the 10,000 experts to the Zhuotian realm was not one immortal, but two. The yellow-clothed man locked his gaze on a mortal cultivator beside him. It was an old man in his 60s. Beichen's own lord, you and I have met frequently. Why did you suddenly attack my world barrier? In any case, you and I are considered friends. Ha! The old man suddenly mocked. Friend, Zhuotian realm lord, if you really treat me as a friend, you ignored me when I asked you for a few spirit gourds in the past. Relying on your Zhuotian realm's rich resources and shocking foundation, you don't put my Beichen zone in your eyes. This time, many immortals have come down to your Zhuotian realm to seize the Xinjia Gate. How can I let go of such a good opportunity? The yellow-clothed man's anger suddenly disappeared. He cupped his fists and said, If you want to seize the Xinjia Gate, I will not stop you. Brother Beichun, there are indeed many immortals in my Zhuotian realm, but as the realm lord, I will not let people act recklessly. I hope they will not wantonly destroy the world. Otherwise, in the end, we will have a falling out, and the Beichen zone will not be any better. Well said, we are indeed here for the Xinjia Gate. Let's go. One of the two immortals waved his hand and brought along 10,000 experts. He had not put Zhuotian realm lord in his eyes at all. He brought the experts and flew into the depths of the world. When they were far away, Master Heiyun said, Master, with our strength, we can definitely chase these people out. No matter what, the Beichen zone is inferior to my Zhuotian realm. How can we allow them to be so impudent? Don't be anxious. In the past, it was possible to use force and threaten the Beichen zone. But now, the other party has long understood the situation of my Zhuotian realm. That is why they dare to be so ostentatious. Master has to think of a way. With so many immortals, it is difficult for Master to do it alone. I also have to figure out many things. Zhuotian realm lord and Master Heiyun quietly approached the outer region islands. Chilean star. In the depths of the earth, the formation was filled with shocking natural spirit qi. Su Fong was cultivating with all his might. The flame in front of him disappeared, and a human-shaped energy was slowly being absorbed into his palms. Go Tianxua, that old antique, had finally created Su Fong. Not long after, the human-shaped energy was absorbed into his body, and then into his veins and black lotus blood threads, causing his perfection stage body to automatically fuse with it. If he wanted to fuse with Go Tianxua's energy, He would have to wait until he stepped into the Ascension realm. Small heaven and earth divine pot. At this moment, Su Fang's attention was on the teapot Tao artifact. Looking closely at this palm-sized small heaven and earth divine pot, it was purple-brown and not much different from a real teapot. But once it was activated, shocking immortal inscriptions would appear. Great Heaven, Celestial World. There were 4 ancient immortal inscriptions at the bottom of the pot that only you could recognize. You said, "This is probably one of the great realms, or perhaps one of the great realms of the great realms. Fuse with it and we will know. Master, this Tao artifact probably has a connection with Go Tianshua's will. If you want to fuse with it, even if you use the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique, it won't work. Your cultivation is too low and can't forcefully fuse with a Tao artifact. Using the Origin's Sacred Mirror won't be a problem." I'll use the Ancient Mirror. With a chuckle, Su Fang grabbed the Origin's Sacred Mirror with a flip of his hand. He then looked at the small heaven and earth divine pot and directly activated the Ancient Mirror, shooting out a red light that easily enveloped the small heaven and earth divine pot. At this moment, the Tao artifact was like the big goblin, obediently floating in the red light. In just a few seconds, the Tao artifact began to tremble uneasily. Following that, a faint aura released a suppressive divine aura on the Tao artifact, causing it to tremble even more intensely. The lid was almost lifted off. Bang! A beam of immortal light suddenly shot out from the pot, and a little boy's uneasy voice begged, "Spare me, spare me. I will do whatever you want me to do. Yuan Ling, just be obedient." Su Fang was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that the Ancient Mirror was really omnipotent. It could suppress a Tao artifact so easily. After putting away the Ancient Mirror, the Xian Guang finally dared to come out of the pot, turning into a ball of immortal light. It also allowed Yuer to come out. Su Fang calmly looked at the small heaven and earth divine pot. "Immortal pot, tell me about your origins." The immortal light obediently replied, I come from the Qian Great Immortal World. That is a supreme great immortal world. I was refined by the Qian Great Immortal World and am a representative of the immortal world. Only large factions or important people can have them. However, my quality is not high. My greatest ability is to store things, and I have a certain amount of offensive power. Perhaps it is very powerful in this small world, but it is nothing in a great immortal world. Your master is that immortal called Luo Yinghao. What is his connection with the Long Heaven Domain? Luo Yinghao is an expert of faction in the Qian Great Immortal World. He is not weak, and he controls some immortals under him, especially those who ascended from small worlds. Once they go to the Qian Great Immortal World, they're just ants in front of immortals like Luo Yinghao. After all, they submit to Luo Yinghao. The immortals who ascended from the Long Heaven Domain all ascended to the Qian Great Immortal World. Some of them know Luo Yinghao and rely on him to gain a foothold in the Great Immortal World. Over time, the immortals who ascended from the Long Heaven Domain all looked up to him. In that case, the Long Heaven Domain's lower realm experts sent news of the Xinjia Gate to the Great Immortal World, and Luo Yinghao came down to seize the treasure. Yes, but Luo Yinghao was not the only immortal who came down. There is also an immortal from the Long Heaven Domain who ascended to the Great Immortal World. First, the experts of the Long Heaven Domain and the Upper Heaven Domain communicated with each other. Finally, they told Luo Yinghao that he decided to come down and see how powerful the Xinjia Gate is. You mean that Luo Yinghao has never heard of the Xinjia Gate before? This Tao artifact is not famous in the immortal world. The Xinjia Gate is unknown in the immortal world. This is also the first time Luo Yinghao heard of it. He felt that it was an ancient Tao artifact, so he came down to take the Xinjia Gate and bring it back to the Qian Great Immortal World. The original spirit of the mini heaven and earth immortal pot answered truthfully. Chapter 758. Hearing this, Su Fang felt even more puzzled. It was fine if mortals didn't know about the immortal gate, but how could immortals not know about it? An ancient Tao artifact Su Fang looked at the small universe immortal pot again. Immortal pot, I'll fuse with you later. From now on, you'll become my Dharma treasure. The immortal pot's essence spirit agreed. It was probably very depressed. It was fine in the great world and could be promoted to a high-grade Tao artifact, but now it was in a small world and had to be fused with by mortals. It was like a phoenix in a chicken coop. It just so happened that its injuries were still a little worse. It could be used to fuse with the small universe immortal pot. After fusing with the Tao artifact, it would probably be about time to start the tribulation. Fusing with a Tao artifact required a certain amount of time, probably 10 times that of a royal gray Dharma treasure. He condensed a few drops of blood and dripped them into the immortal pot when it released its immortal light. The immortal pot emitted a sizzling sound, and a large number of immortal patterns immediately appeared on the surface of the immortal pot, shuttling back and forth like flowing light, making the Tao artifact look like a perfect piece of art. In next to no time, Su Fong welcomed a deep and empty feeling. This feeling was similar to when he fused with the divine image jade annulus. His consciousness and body were constantly in contact with the small universe immortal pot, as if an invisible suction force was being released from the immortal pot, trying to suck Su Fong into the immortal pot. The stronger the feeling, the closer it was to the point of flesh and blood. Some true qi, physical strength, and even essence spirit began to naturally surge out and enter the small universe immortal pot. It maintained this state of fusion. After 2 years, Su Fong entered the immortal pot. The space inside the immortal pot was indeed amazing. It was 5 times bigger than the divine image jade annulus. Not only was the space big, but the immortal arrays inside were also stacked. There were indeed many treasures in the depths, including immortal stones from the great world and the origin treasure from the long heaven domain that Go Tianxua had collected. The immortal pot's essence spirit turned into an immortal light several times bigger than a Tao artifact. It accompanied Su Fong as they flew to every corner. This kind of storage Tao treasure was actually very simple. Other than the special material, the internal array was also very simple. In addition, Su Fong also had the experience of fusing Tao treasures and mastering immortal marks. To him, the miniature heaven and earth immortal gourd was not unfamiliar. Gourd spirit tree. Again in the center, Su Fong had long been looking forward to it. As soon as he entered the space, he immediately sensed the special aura. It was the number 1 spiritual item from the Zhuotian realm, the heavenly gourd spirit tree. The heavenly gourd spirit tree was too tall. Its roots, crown, and trunk reached a height of tens of thousands of feet. It took up almost 2/5 of the space of the Tao artifact. Su Fong and Yuan Ling slowly approached the spirit tree, and they were in a good mood. Go Tianxua has helped me greatly this time, and he has given me the spirit tree for free. Unexpectedly, a young voice came from the depths of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. I've fused with your bloodline. It's you who've absorbed my power several times. From your aura and body, I can sense countless powers that belong to me. I have indeed absorbed quite a bit of your energy because I have always wanted to fuse with you. I did not expect you to have consciousness as well. As a spirit tree that has grown for nearly 10 million years, I naturally have consciousness. If it wasn't for the fact that the first generation Zhuotian realm, Li Tianjua, also sealed my consciousness when he planted me, then I would have grown quickly in these past few years and broken the seal to ascend to the great world. Why would an overlord like Li Tianjua, who created the Zhuotian realm, seal you? Didn't he fuse with you and plant you in the Zhuotian realm? Is that so? That despicable person met me in a distant, desolate, small world and brought me back to the Zhuotian realm. He promised that as long as I helped him fuse with the Zhuotian realm, he would help me cultivate. At that time, he had just started cultivating the Zhuotian realm and lacked a spiritual item that could quickly absorb the Zhuotian realm. Thus, he took a fancy to me and planted me in the earth's core. He let me absorb the essence of the Zhuotian realm, and then fused with him to sacrifice the Zhuotian realm. The spirit gourd's voice was filled with anger. That hateful Li Tianjua. I helped him control the Zhuotian realm, but he broke his promise and sealed me in the Earth's core. Why? Su Fong still didn't quite understand. Because if I stayed in the Earth's core forever, I would be able to continuously absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth and bring an endless amount of life energy to the Zhuotian realm. It would make the Aowatian realm's natural energy more abundant and higher. Compared to other small worlds, I would be like a slave, forever suppressed in the Earth's core. After so many years, from the time Li Qianzhua ascended to a large world until he fell, generations of realm lords had followed his orders and made me stay in the Earth's core forever. I have been using my power to continuously supply the Zhuotian realm with the power of the stars, sun, and moon. In the future, the Zhuotian realm would become the largest and most powerful small world. And here I thought you wanted to stay in the Zhuotian realm, in the heavenly gourd realm. As a spiritual being, everyone wants to become a spiritual being in the future and become an immortal. I'm no exception. Who would be willing to be a watchdog for the Zhuotian realm for the rest of their lives? Li Tianzhuan never thought that an immortal would descend, and a cultivator would use the power of an immortal to break his seal. Of course, his seal's power is also something I've been secretly whittling away over the years. Otherwise, with that bit of immortal power, I wouldn't have been able to break the seal left behind by Li Tianzhua. I know about you, spirit tree. You should be able to feel the peerless might of the wood element in my body. I came to take you for selfish reasons. First, I need you to help me reach the Ascension realm. That goal has been achieved. Secondly, I want to fuse with the human emperor world. The human emperor world has been abandoned for countless years and needs a spiritual being as its source to bring life to the world. I will plant you in the human emperor world, but I'm different from Li Tianzhua. I won't seal you so that you can cultivate and ascend to a large world in the future. Do I have any other choice? Furthermore, I've already fused with your blood. This is fate between us. I just hope you can do as you say. At this moment, the heavenly gourd spirit tree that used to be mysterious and lofty was now filled with desolation and helplessness. Su Fong didn't make any more promises. In the future, he would use his actions to prove everything. After familiarizing himself with the space of the mini-universe immortal pod, he immediately let you release a channel and fused with the immortal pod's original spirit. Suddenly, a huge big goblin chi appeared in the space of the mini-universe immortal pod. The undying tortoise laughed. Another Tao artifact. This Tao artifact is not bad. The space is a few times bigger than the divine image Jade Annulus. It's comfortable. Furthermore, the immortal chi from the large world is so abundant that it fills the entire space. It's inexhaustible. The immortal pot's original spirit was stunned. What a huge spirit tortoise. It also has demonic chi. This is a longevity tortoise. The heavenly gourd spirit tree was also shocked by the undying tortoise. They were both huge creatures, but the undying tortoise's attack power was much higher than it. Su Fong didn't give it any face. Undying tortoise, I've already done what I promised you. From now on, if you don't properly serve me, I'll definitely take everything back and beat you back to your original form. There's still one last cultivation technique. With it, I can save even more time and transform into a human. The tortoise demon was no longer as impudent as before. After settling down the two huge creatures, Su Fong left the Tao artifact. The mini-universe immortal pot also entered Su Fong's body. Now, Su Fong had two Tao artifacts, and the mini-universe immortal pot also had a certain amount of offensive power. With two Tao artifacts, Su Fong's defense would be even more shocking. Furthermore, using two Tao artifacts wasn't easy. The more Dharma treasures there were, the more true Qi would be consumed. Su Fong didn't dare to use two Tao artifacts at the same time. It's time to undergo the tribulation. Only after undergoing the tribulation will I be able to fuse with Go Tianshua's power. For example, True Qi, Golden Core, Eternal Heaven Domain's Origin, and Immortal Qi. In a breath's time, he arrived above the formation. Sitting cross-legged in the air, he began to release the aura in his body. His injuries had completely recovered, and his cultivation had reached the 10th layer of catastrophe. Next, he would summon the heavenly tribulation and step into the ascendant transformation realm. Once he reached the ascendant transformation realm, he would step into the ranks of the overlords of the small world. The ascendant transformation realm was the final realm for mortals, although there was still the flying celestial realm after it. The flying celestial realm already possessed celestial chi and was considered half a celestial. With a surge of demonic chi, the undying tortoise came out again. It was as black as a huge mountain. Heavenly demon venerable, wooling goblin, nine-headed demon king, brute force demon king, I'll let you enter the mini-universe immortal pot. There's even more celestial chi there. This is a great opportunity for you. The heavenly tribulation began to condense in the sky. As Su Fong waited, he moved the big goblin from the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda to the pinnacle of the ascendant transformation realm and the flying celestial realm. About 100 of them were transferred to the mini-universe immortal pot space. The Vermilion Emperor and the 9-segment Earth Dragon were in charge of cultivating in the Tao artifact space. The mini-universe immortal pot and the celestial image Jade Annulus were completely different. The celestial image Jade Annulus was a Tao artifact, but the immortal chi inside was mostly its own energy. The mini-universe immortal pot absorbed a lot of energy from the outside world, allowing immortals to cultivate. The ascendant transformation realm's tribulation is the true heavenly lightning and earthly fire. After about 2 hours, the sky was filled with tribulation clouds. Then, the tribulation clouds started to burn. This was the first time Su Fong had seen such a different heavenly tribulation. This seemed to be earthly fire. After the undying tortoise was ready, Su Fong started to rise into the sky. The world above was filled with burning heavenly tribulation. The entire world had turned into a sea of fire. Whoosh! The first heavenly tribulation came very suddenly. It was a burning heavenly tribulation that was 1 mile wide, which was the real earthly fire. Before Su Fong made his move, a part of the heavenly tribulation fire descended, forming a crazy burning flame on the ground around Su Fong. Immediately, the first heavenly tribulation fire above Su Fong formed a cage, trapping Su Fong. Su Fong immediately realized the power of the heavenly lightning and earthly fire. After the earthly fire trapped him, it actually cut off his connection with the spatial energy. In other words, he couldn't absorb any natural energy in the earthly fire. If he was exhausted, he wouldn't be able to absorb spirit chi. In the end, he would lose his true chi and be unable to resist the heavenly tribulation. He would die under the heavenly lightning and earthly fire. Unfortunately, Su Fong didn't have many things, but he had a lot of true chi. In a breath, he used his big hand to grab a part of the earthly fire. He forcefully punched a hole in the cage formed by the earthly fire and threw the earthly fire towards the undying tortoise. Whoosh! Then, he grabbed at the first earthly fire tribulation. Immediately, the earthly fire was grabbed into pieces of flame. The first heavenly tribulation was resolved just like that. However, unexpectedly, the flames on the ground around him doubled in intensity, forming 2 layers of earthly fire above and below. They burned until the formation was peeling off layer by layer. It was too powerful, and it was also attacking Su Fong's body, wanting to burn him. Fortunately, his defense was amazing. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for him to deal with the heavenly tribulation, let alone the burning earthly fire below. When the second heavenly tribulation descended, Su Fong grabbed another part of the earthly fire and threw it into the undying tortoise's body. As the undying tortoise devoured the earthly fire, even its turtle shell appeared a little red, especially its body, which almost became a flaming mountain. Whoosh! When it grabbed the second earthly fire, the earthly fire pounced on Su Fong, burning his defense layer by layer, and the formation below had already collapsed. The earthly fire tribulation wanted to burn Su Fong to ashes. Then, the third, fourth, and fifth heavenly tribulation fire were all shattered by Su Fong's absolute strength in a sea of fire. When it came to the sixth heavenly tribulation, countless lightning bolts surged from the burning heavenly tribulation, like a sea of heavenly lightning. The heavenly lightning in the earthly fire. It was so domineering that even the sky trembled. Moreover, the sixth heavenly lightning turned into 6 waterfalls of heavenly lightning, which were like 6 sharp lightning blades, wanting to cut and tear Su Fong apart. Su Fong didn't dare to be careless. He released his defense, then grabbed a big hand and directly led one of the waterfalls of heavenly lightning to the undying tortoise. Chapter 759. Grabbing the heavenly thunder tribulation angered the will of the heavenly thunder tribulation. The burning earth fire around Su Fong released a large amount of thunder flowers. These thunder flowers were the power of the heavenly thunder. After merging with the earth fire, they formed a shocking, intertwining electric current. Like a thunder net, they pounced on Su Fong from all directions. This time, he was in big trouble. Su Fong had to deal with the sixth heavenly thunder tribulation above him and the punishment power that came from stripping the heavenly thunder tribulation. The giant hand almost shattered the sixth heavenly thunder tribulation above him, but the heavenly thunder tribulation was really powerful and resilient. The thunder net formed by the earth fire and heavenly thunder tribulation also trapped him. Any defense Su Fong released will be devoured by the thunder net immediately. Just like this, his body was attacked again and again. Even in the face of such difficulties, Su Fong did not use the Starry Daylight Sword or the Doctrine Artifact. He relied on his own strength to overcome this tribulation and step into the winged transformation realm. After a stalemate, the sixth heavenly thunder tribulation was torn apart by the giant hand. The seventh heavenly thunder tribulation descended with lightning speed. The earth fire and heavenly thunder tribulation around him were also much stronger. The thunder net formed made Su Fong unable to activate his defense. However, with the power of his aura, Su Fong could also block the thunder net outside. He grabbed another heavenly thunder tribulation and released it toward the undying tortoise. This time, the undying tortoise had heavenly thunder chi running all over its body. A large amount of disgusting substances seeped out of its skin. Its current state could be described as fuming. Waves of demonic flames and black smoke came out of its mouth, nostrils, eyes, and the depths of its skin. It was like an old smoker blowing smoke rings there. During this time, Su Fong went through the 7th, 8th, and 9th heavenly thunder tribulation and finally reached the 10th. Before he was ready, the heavenly thunder tribulation above him was close to 1,000 meters. When the heavenly thunder tribulation fell, the space was torn apart. The undying tortoise suddenly said, "Kid, give me more heavenly thunder tribulation. That's exactly what I want." Looking at such a terrifying heavenly thunder tribulation, Su Fong did not know how the winged transformation realm cultivators were able to overcome such terrifying powers and finally step heavenly thunder tribulation. Of course, how many cultivators of tribulation realm cultivators were able to reach realm heavenly thunder tribulation? He forcibly grabbed 2 heavenly thunder tribulations and struck them toward the undying tortoise. Su Fong also used the yin-yang Rakshasa sword at this moment. Looking at the heavenly thunder above him, it was difficult for him to continue entangling with it. Normal attacks were unable to completely shatter it. Therefore, he thought of the most useful supernatural power, no Taoist technique, yin-yang Rakshasa sword. On the surface, the yin-yang Rakshasa sword looked like a divine ability, but in fact, it was a Tao technique that Su Fong had fused with many divine abilities. It could also fuse with various divine abilities. At this moment, as the catastrophe descended, Su Fong faced the danger of being crushed by the heavenly thunder mountain. Fortunately, his eyes shot out sword stars in the shape of strangulation. They rose up against the heavens and passed through the heavenly lightning. As soon as they came into contact with the heavenly lightning, they began their strangulation attack. The heavenly lightning that was originally one after another was strangled into pieces. In the end, even the pieces turned into scattered lightning. The The 10th heavenly thunder tribulation was too huge. Su Fong had no choice but to continuously use the yin-yang Rakshasa sword. He hadn't felt the power of the heavenly thunder tribulation for a long time. This time, he actually felt this long-lost threat. After an incense stick's worth of time, the yin-yang Rakshasa sword was finally the overbearing one. It strangled the 10th heavenly thunder tribulation into pieces. The lightning net formed by the surrounding heavenly thunder, earthly fire, also began to disappear. Receive. Next, I'll absorb the spiritual energy of the catastrophe. My physical body will shatter, transform, and step into the Ascension realm. I'm really looking forward to the changes that the Ascension realm will bring to my physical body. At this moment, he adjusted his breathing. The undying tortoise also came here. Su Fong was still sitting on top of it. He realized that the undying tortoise's crawling speed was several times faster than before. Presumably, this was the transformation brought about by the baptism of the heavenly thunder tribulation, devouring the power of the immortals and following the guidance of the divine image Jade Annulus. A large amount of spiritual energy descended. Su Fong's physical body had already begun to expand, forming a tremor. A large number of tearing blood marks appeared on his physical body. The same went for his meridians and flesh. Whoosh! A blood-colored flame wrapped Su Fong, who was sitting cross-legged. It began to burn from head to toe. The power of the flame was full of crackling sounds. Under this flame, every corner of his physical body was burning. His skin, head, and hand were all the same. The pain it brought was naturally imaginable. Fortunately, after the burning, nearly 1/3 of his physical body seemed to suddenly turn into dust. It was separated from his physical body in the flames. A new power rose from his physical body. Su Fong felt the weight of his physical body return. When the flames slowly disappeared, his skin was as white as jade. He looked like a newborn baby. This is the Ascension realm. The flame disappeared. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth also completely disappeared. The heavenly thunder tribulation also continued to dissipate. Su Fong slowly opened his eyes. Looking at his physical body that was like a newborn, he could not hide his excitement. The surrounding tortoise shell was scattered with the purified dust left after the burning. It was as light as a feather. Any movement in the world could be heard clearly. There were also many changes. This was the most direct change Su Fong had experienced after stepping into the Ascension realm. He could hear everything within 100 miles. His vision could see things 10,000 miles away. This kind of change was as exciting and fresh as when he first cultivated his physical body to the Great Circle. 10,000 miles of land was vast, but he could see everything clearly in an instant. He no longer needed to use a treasure like the ancient spirit firefly to track anything. His hearing could also reach 10,000 miles, and he could hear even further. However, the further he went, the more indistinct the movements became. He lost the ability to determine direction. He then looked at the changes in his body. His meridians were 10 times stronger than when he was in the catastrophe realm. The Black Lotus blood threads were also several times thicker. They were also very sturdy. Now, the Black Lotus blood threads could even circulate true chi. He could not feel or see any impurities in his body. The dragon taming with left arm was also more perfect. Under normal circumstances, he could not feel anything different. The purple chi law spirit and origin golden core had also fused with his physical body. With my current physical body, I estimate that I have reached the peak of the Ascension realm. In terms of strength, I have surpassed the Ascension realm and reached the level of a Calamity realm, flying immortal. After sensing for a while, Su Fong had a new understanding of his own strength. The space in his mind's divine aperture was also 10 times bigger than before. His young infant was even sturdier. He wore a treasure armor and would occasionally be separated. My fusion with the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda has also improved a lot. However, it has not reached the ideal level. I still need to continue fusing. After stepping into the Ascension realm, my physical body and young infant have undergone earth-shattering changes. My strength is already at the level of a calamity realm flying immortal. I can go to the celestial sealing sect and find Changsheng to take back the third part of the purple Qi law spirit. Only with strength can I deal with Changsheng. He was in a good mood. When he urged his physical body again, it was as light as a feather. He could float and fly in the air without using hand seals or controlling his aura. This meant that the physical body of a cultivator had reached the same height as the power of heaven and earth in the small world through cultivation, forging, and breakthroughs. It was no wonder that Ascension Realm and Flying Immortal Realm cultivators were so fast. They were also very relaxed in the galaxy. He began to devour the power of immortals and various spiritual items. He needed power. He tried to use various magical powers. When his will exploded, the magical powers could be condensed. This speed was also faster than before. The overall changes after stepping into the Ascension Realm were so shocking. As an Ascension Realm cultivator, it became easy to cultivate the Heavenly Demon Book, Heavenly Demon Disintegration Seal, Divine Emperor, Divine Origin Scripture, Blood Hell Wolf Smoke, Een Underworld Chi, and even 9 Yang 9 changes. However, as he cultivated higher-level mental cultivation techniques, it became correspondingly more difficult. Suddenly, the undying tortoise spoke from below. This time I cleansed my physical body by 2/3 and forced out the impurities. Now, I can slowly control my physical body through cultivation. I will find a cultivation technique for you. That way, you'll be able to break through your fleshly body's shackles even faster. You could try out the various cultivation techniques that I have given you. Who knows, you might be able to find some tricks on your own. A man and a demon sat cross-legged on the ground, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Buzz. However, in less than 3 months, when Su Fong only had a portion of his true Qi left, it was insignificant to him. Unexpectedly, there was a familiar movement in his body. He entered the depths of the 8 Yang meridians and saw that the 9th Yang meridian had been successfully formed. The entire meridian had turned into a jade state. It really came at the right time. Su Fong stared at the 9th Yang meridian excitedly. He did not expect the 9th Yang meridian to be formed at such a crucial time. It had undoubtedly greatly increased his overall strength. He circulated the 9 Yang true Qi and began to attack the 10th Yang meridian. He also channeled a portion of the power of the 8 Yang meridians into the 9th Yang meridian, allowing the 9 Yang meridians to reach a state of equilibrium. Now he lacked true Qi, not only his physical body, but also his meridians. Now, even his Yang meridians were the same. When the 9th Yang meridian was in a similar state to the first 8 Yang meridians, Su Fong was relieved and continued to cultivate and devour resources, especially when he cultivated mental cultivation techniques. Due to the addition of the 9th Yang meridian, his cultivation speed had obviously increased. After waiting for a while, suddenly, he opened his eyes. His gaze was bright, and his aura exploded. His body emitted a golden aura. The flesh embryo divine armor turned into a layer of golden clothes. This was not the immortal Qi of the great world, but the divine power of the gigantified Vajra body. Great, this is too unexpected. I did not expect that forming the 9th Yang meridian would cause the gigantified Vajra body to have such a change. Su Fong seemed to have undergone a shocking change. He then soared into the sky. Master, demonic Qi shot out from his palm. The demonic Qi turned into a black-robed man. It was Wooling Goblin. Su Fong laughed boldly and said, "Wu Ling, let's compete with our fists. Let's see how much power my physical body can withstand." Wooling Goblin did not understand why Su Fong called him out to compete with his physical body. He could only release his demonic Qi. His skin turned into a jet-black stone state, turning him into a stone man. Gigantified Vajra body. Su Fong also used the gigantified Vajra body for the first time. Su Fong had used the Herculean divine palm and the indestructible Vajra body before. However, there were only 2 divine abilities that came from the gigantified Vajra body. Squeak! Su Fong opened his arms. The nine yang aura turned golden and exploded on his skin. Then, mysterious golden patterns appeared on Su Fang's skin. They looked like a mysterious family totem. Crackle. Under the influence of this mysterious golden totem, his body began to change little by little, growing in reverse. Along with the sound of the muscles and bones in his arms and legs growing, his muscles grew bigger and bigger. Soon his body was over 2 meters tall, reaching a height of 10 feet. Giant. Su Fang turned into a giant with golden totems all over his body. And master. Such a transformation frightened Woolen Goblin. Not only did he turn into a giant, but there was also a supreme golden totem on his body. It made Su Fang release the aura of a supreme emperor and overlord. At this moment, the size of Woolen Goblin was even larger than his human form. Come, you're a natural stone spirit. Your physical body is the toughest. Even the heaven-piercing demon Venerable cannot compare to you. Su Fang was also shocked by his new transformation. Even he could not believe it. Was this the state of the gigantified Vajra body? Master, be careful. Woolen Goblin was a big goblin. He was a giant demon with 2 or 3 calamity dice. He was a giant demon on the same level as the heaven-piercing demon Venerable. Pa! Pa! He took a step forward and punched out with his jet-black stone fist. Oh, Su Fang also punched out with his right fist. With a bang, his arm punched out in a straight line. It was simple and swift, just like when he practiced his family's cultivation technique. Chapter 760. Bang! The Woolen Goblin's stone fist and Su Fang's giant golden fist collided. The collision created a shockwave that blew away the auras of the two experts. Su Fang, who had used the greater giant diamond body, was pleasantly surprised. After the shockwave dissipated, Su Fang's physical body, which was at the first layer of the feather transformation realm, was able to fight the Woolen Goblin head-on. They were in a stalemate. Master, the Woolen Goblin couldn't believe it. Too powerful. What kind of power is this? Or is it a divine ability? You should know that this subordinate's physical body is unparalleled in this small world. This is a supreme divine ability. I couldn't use it before, but after breaking through to the feather transformation realm, I can use it. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. Su Fang sensed the situation in his body. When he saw the 9 yang veins, they appeared again. Every yang meridian released pure and mysterious yang energy, causing the yang meridians to be connected together. The 9 yang meridians were not like before, where they were separated. Now, the 9 yang meridians released yang energy, absorbing each other and forming a complete cycle. I remember that the mysterious woman in the ancient mirror said that the 9 yang 9 transformations has a total of 9 transformations. I need to cultivate 81 yang veins, and the first transformation of the 9 yang 9 transformations is to cultivate 9 yang veins. Could it be that with the birth of the 9th yang meridian, every single meridian connected to each other? This transformation means that I have reached the first transformation of the 9 yang transformations technique. That should be the case. After cultivating for a while, I must enter the ancient mirror and ask the senior. After thinking about it, Lin Fan's mood became better, especially when he was in the greater giant diamond body state. Master, let's have a match with my original body. However, the Woolen Goblin wasn't willing to admit defeat. With a shake of his body, his demonic aura exploded into the sky. His human form transformed into a black-colored rock that was more than 100 feet long. Half of his demonic body suddenly stood upright like a venomous snake. That pair of evil and spirited eyes stared straight at Su Fang. After spitting out a circle of demon chi, the Woolen Goblin suddenly opened its mouth and bared its fangs. Its dark gold stone fangs bit at Su Fang as fast as a spark. Herculean divine palm. Good timing. Now that Su Fang was in his giant form, he could finally unleash a true godly class divine ability, the superhuman strength god palm. As the Woolen Goblin bit towards him, the huge body of the incarnation burst out with the mysterious golden flames of the greater world. Its body opened up with a creak, and then it pushed out a layer of golden chi aura from its palm, slapping towards the Wuling Goblin's fang mouth. Dan, considering that he had a godly class energy art in his fleshly body, this palm strike was nothing compared to Demon King Black Ridge's true self. However, Su Fong's body seemed to have taken root in the turtle shell. Even though he was several times smaller than himself, he was still able to meet the attack head-on. Just like before, neither of the two experts had the upper hand. The Wuling Goblin didn't believe in its innate ability. Its body was made of stone, the result of countless years of wind and rain. How could it possibly be inferior to a first-stage ascension transformation cultivator? Ruwuyumble. No matter how much demonic chi exploded and how much aura it released, the Black Ridge Demon King still couldn't force its body to move closer to Su Fong. Su Fong didn't move at all. The golden light that surrounded the greater giant Vajra body began to glow. His aura began to burn away, transforming into dust. After enough time passed for half an incense stick to burn, the Wuling Goblin retracted its body and said, "I submit. Your subordinate submits." Su Fong retracted his attack and stretched out his body. He could sense that after reaching the first transformation of the 9 Yang transformations, he now had 9 Yang meridians and could use the greater giant Vajra body. That was the result of the 9 Yang transformations, and the godly class energy art had undergone shocking transformations. If the first transformation allowed Su Fong to use a godly class energy art with the cultivation base of a mortal, then what would happen when he reached the second, third, and 9th transformations? Whiz. Su Fong activated his 9 Yang meridians, and his Yang power began to circulate. The greater giant Vajra body vanished, and Su Fong returned to his normal appearance. He was just about to say something when all of a sudden his head swelled, and he slumped to the ground, face ashen. Panting, he began to sweat profusely. It was almost as if he were suffering from serious illness. "Are you all right, my lord?" the Wuling Goblin asked worriedly. "When I was in gigantification for an hour, I didn't feel very drained. But now I can tell that I've used up more than half of my Yang power and true energy. That is especially true of my life force. My lord, it seems you can't use this divine ability for long periods of time." "You're right. It wasn't easy for me to reach the first transformation of the 9 Yang transformations. And now, I can only use the greater giant Vajra body for a short period of time." Su Fong sighed again and again, his face full of panic. "The most frightening thing is that I can't feel the exhaustion of my body when I'm in the gigantified state. If I use the gigantified diamond body for a long time, won't I exhaust myself to the point of death?" The Wuling Goblin said, "In that case, it's best not to use this technique. My lord, your fleshly body is as strong as a flying immortal with 2 daos of tribulation. But if you run into an enemy and use this divine ability, you'll end up with a lose-lose situation. And if the enemy is too strong, then you'll end up like a lamb under the blade of the enemy. All right, go back to your Dao treasure and cultivate." He sucked the big goblin back into his palm. Su Fong felt groggy, his head swollen, and his body heavy. He didn't feel as empty as he had when he broke through to the ascendant transformation level. Suddenly, the undying tortoise sent a message. "This divine ability of yours is incredible. When you were on my back, I felt like you were burning your true chi and life energy. Fortunately, this divine ability has perfectly fused with your peak physical body. Your peak physical body can allow you to use and endure this divine ability. Otherwise, you would have died from exhaustion." Great Circle Fleshly Body. After some thought, he realized that the Great Circle Fleshly Body was a fleshly body technique that he had cultivated in the past. The Great Circle Fleshly Body was something that had existed since ancient times. In ancient times, people who wanted to defy heaven in their cultivation had to master the basics. It was similar to how modern cultivators needed to form gold cores. Years ago, that mysterious senior gave me the Great Circle Fleshly Body and then gave me the godly class energy art. Could it be that it wasn't a coincidence? Only after I reached the Great Circle Fleshly Body did the mysterious senior give me the mega-giant heavenly king body? Doesn't that mean that only a great circle fleshly body can cultivate the mega-giant heavenly king body? You're right. The undying turtle is right. If I weren't in the great circle, then I wouldn't be able to use the mega-giant heavenly king body. I wouldn't even be able to cultivate the 9 transformations of the 9 suns. It seems I'll have to keep working on my fleshly body cultivation. I'll need to combine my black lotus true body, the power of the spirit tree, the dragon-subduing wood, and my anima destiny magical treasures to make my fleshly body even stronger. Only with a strong, great circle, fleshly body can I cultivate a boundless, godly class energy art. As the undying turtle spoke, Su Feng's eyes shone with enlightenment. Although he was exhausted and uncomfortable, he still left his young, nascent soul and entered the primeval chaos sage realm. Once inside the crimson mirror, he realized that he couldn't move at all. After all, even when he had entered the godly idol jade, annulus, or the minor cosmos immortal kettle, he hadn't been so restricted. Back when he had entered the door of immortal Jean, he had been shackled to the point where most cultivators couldn't even fly. So, the stronger the magical item, the more terrifying the shackles. If a mortal were to enter an ordinary magical item, they wouldn't be able to move at all. Looking around helplessly, he realized how small and powerless he was. Drawing on his young power and will, he waited for the mysterious woman to appear. About 2 hours later, the familiar frigid energy of the 9 Eons appeared. Su Feng heard the familiar woman's voice. "Why have you summoned me again?" Su Feng said respectfully. Junior has already cultivated 9 yang meridians and is now in the first transformation of the 9 suns. Is that so? The mysterious woman was surprised. Based on your speed, it is indeed beyond my expectations for you to reach the first transformation and have 9 yang meridians in just a few hundred years. Even a mortal wouldn't be able to reach such a speed. Junior, just check my 9 yang meridians. In the past, each of them was open, but now, each of them is releasing yang power, connecting the 9 yang meridians together. As long as Junior activates the 9 yang true qi, the yang power can explode at any time. Cultivating the 9 suns, 9 transformations has also become much easier. The first transformation of the 9 suns, 9 transformations, is actually the same as what humans call the minor heavenly cycle and the major heavenly cycle. The 9 suns, 9 transformations is a cycle, a reincarnation cycle. It represents the endless growth of all things in the world, causing all the energy in a cultivator's body to be in a state of flourishing. I have to congratulate you for reaching the first transformation. From now on, your overall cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds. Many thanks to you, Senior, for imparting this technique to me. Just now, when I was outside, I used the greater gigantism heavenly king body, which caused my fleshly body to grow significantly larger. Then I used the super strength god palm and the undying golden body. That's when I realized that those 2 divine abilities can only be used when my fleshly body is gigantified. The greater gigantism heavenly king body is one of the most powerful techniques in this ancient mirror. It's a boundless godly class energy art, and the super strength god palm and the undying golden body are based on it. Only by using the greater gigantism heavenly king body will you be able to unleash the super strength god palm and the undying golden body. The reason I didn't tell you this before was because I knew that you would eventually gain enlightenment on your own. Junior will work hard to cultivate more yang meridians. You've reached the first transformation, and, as I said before, your cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds. However, there are conditions. If you want to become an immortal, a powerful expert, your cultivation speed will be shocking. If you're still immortal, you won't be able to advance much. Do you understand? The bigger the container, the more things it can hold. Senior, isn't that the same principle? It's good that you understand. The principle is simple, so I won't waste my breath explaining. The only way you can continue to advance is to make your fleshly body stronger. Junior just thought of a question. Su Feng listened respectfully for a moment. then asked, "If I continue to cultivate my fleshly body in the great circle, what level will I reach in the future?" I can't answer that. The fleshly body is one of the most profound and enigmatic things in heaven and earth. Everyone's cultivation is different, and the power they wield in the future will be different. Focus on your cultivation. Once you reach the first transformation, you'll be able to absorb even more of my 9 true energy. Whiz. All of a sudden, a sound wave rippled out from within the crimson space. However, Su Feng had no idea where the sound wave had gone. Even with his great circle abilities, he couldn't use them in the ancient mirror. He was still too weak and couldn't see anything about the mysterious woman. Helplessly, he retracted his will, and once again his fleshly body felt heavy and exhausted.